leaders. We must see health spending as an investment rather than just a social obligation, because a healthy population is indispensable to economic progress. As an advocate for African health sovereignty, I'm obliged to demonstrate this practically at home. And so in Ghana, we have moved beyond rhetoric to implement calculated, aggressive policies that place the citizen at the center of the clinical encounter. With one of the more successful national health insurance schemes in Africa, Ghana has an insurance coverage estimated at 66% as at the end of 2025. This still leaves about 34% of our population without coverage. Besides, the NHIS has been focused principally on curative care with very little attention to preventive care. To mop up the remaining population not covered by the NHIS, we have recently successfully begun implementing our free primary health care program. By removing financial barriers to the most basic and essential services at the rural level, we've ensured that our citizens in the remotest regions of our country also enjoy access to quality health care on par with their urban counterparts, with an eye on preventive care. And we're grateful that the WHO, led by Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, was among the first to congratulate us on achieving this significant milestone. Thank you, Tedros. We have revitalized our national health insurance scheme, the NHIS. By removing the cap on the health insurance fund, we immediately freed up an additional 3 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $300 million for healthcare investment. We've also streamlined national health insurance scheme operations by eliminating bottlenecks, utilizing digital tools including AI to detect fraudulent claims, and most importantly, prioritizing prompt refunds to service providers. Because a health insurance scheme is only as strong as the trust between the state and the hospitals that provide the care. By ensuring our providers are paid on time, we ensure that our citizens are treated with dignity. We've also confronted the rising tide of non-communicable diseases by launching the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares. This fund is a lifeline for those suffering from non-communicable diseases, cardiovascular conditions, cancers, liver disease, and renal failures that were previously a death sentence for the poor. Mahama Cares is ensuring that specialized high-cost care is not a privilege for just a few, but is a right for all. Ghana, I'm also happy to report, is on track to exit Gavi funding for vaccines by the year 2030, and we hope to transition into a donor in the not too distant future. These domestic achievements are the foundation of my leadership of the Accra Research Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, this assembly is set to consider a proposal for joint process to reform the global health architecture. Ghana, having co-chaired the working group for the Lusaka agenda, welcomes this. But as a committed apostle of reform of the world health architecture, I'm concerned about whispers I have heard that the current draft resolution seeks to protect existing organizational mandates and prohibits the recommendation of mergers or consolidations. In Mali, the Dogon people warn that, do not let the sight of those eating roasted maize force you to cook your maize seeds. If we launch a process of reform that is prohibited from recommending actual reform, we are merely performing a ritual. We cannot prioritize institutional comfort over human survival. The WHO's legitimacy is not served by protecting silos. It is served by a fearless analysis of what works. When I hosted Director General Tedros, President Obasanjo, and many others in Accra in 2025, we firmed up a vision for health sovereignty. To us, sovereignty is the practical capacity to finance core functions predictably, regulate quality at the regional level, and produce critical inputs locally. A continent that manufactures less than 1% of its vaccines while carrying 25% of global disease burden is not sovereign, it is vulnerable. It is at best a ward of the international system. And by sovereignty, we do not mean isolationism. We are advocating the practical capacity of a nation to finance its own core functions, regulate its own quality, produce its own medicines, and govern its own data. Ministers of health in the global south often spend more time writing donor reports than designing and fixing primary health care. If we launch a process of reform that is prohibited from recommending actual reform, we are merely performing a ritual. We cannot prioritize institutional comfort over human survival. The WHO's legitimacy is not served by protecting silos. It is served by a fearless analysis of what works. When I hosted Director General Tedros, President Obasanjo, and many others in Accra in 2025, we firmed up a vision for health sovereignty. To us, sovereignty is the practical capacity.
Yamawa Joe, Emawa Kwaba Mra, Masem TV, Facebook, and YouTube, any other social media, and TikTok in our qua over here live, and then you bring Mama Joe, and then see that's on Kwa. Nyankopon e de adom me say ye ni ahia na yentimen dwendwen ye man Ghana ho ene benada the 19th day of the month May in 2026 me no atena se ye ba dwendwen Ghana ho dwumadi ni di beyond the headlines enti nsemo a e ba nra bia ba nne a koso e wo social media the yankasa ye radio bia writers etro ene won sensem abanyina na nanwumre nsuso yesi nkonwa ya di dwumadi we e di ebrao me no tena se ya ye di nkomo e don sanimu asukọ ahwe nsanu sade etie sade besi aka no e beboa ma ye hu se ye man no etumpon di ehiam ya ne se me no mi onu ye beka bom ni apega Ghana asi ba bi esesi ya ma mpanimfo ya to aba yi omo mpanimfo e wo Ghana ha omo boa me akekere man no omo hu se eyom se ye nso de ye ne eto aba no mo omo ye ne yi omo omo ko gina ba bi omo gina no but ye se e che omo se ne ye pese mo bu man no mai enu nti ne edwumadi ne fe no beyond the headlines se ne beboa ye nso yetime di nkomo adomu asukọ akoye nim media ne Kwame fresh love te na nwumre me ni minu amo ene bese atena se a ye de mpensempense mu ni nyina no e de bebrao ene ye focus no e ba be ye ensem ba ko e ba beto wia in relation to the Bono regional chairman ma MPP amoyan kuo no kwambafo abronye so obekaya last week ne ba beto wia se okọ court e ma court no e ka se onkoda efiase for 2 weeks na yemfanye nhwehwemu e wo nan nsem a akwakodi court sanse okoka asem bi editi a judge bi e wo court no sankomobo no after say yeru akwambafo abronye yede ne koye no minority leader Kwame na Fenyo Markins osahene enso be press conference e o na no kwesiada e be kasai na o hwe ne nsem a obeka ye na o kan sem bebre na nwumemo atibi after that asem ne baaye no enu a Ghana Bar Association enso aba be kasa afa ho Felix Kwacho ofoso no so kasa ma aban no enso abe kasa afa ho NDC amanyoku ankasa enso abe kasa afa ho NMPP amanyoku no so akasa afa ho mpo the minority in parliament enso abe kasa afa ho ena minority na ankasa the MPP amanyoku so atwo krata e de akoma mpanimfo a omufi amano ne omabaye manmu enso so omonhwe asem no na yentimi makwa ambafo abronye be the following story ba kwa ba ne se de nyame ya dom ensam na court na na omoma no so onko remand for 2 weeks no ya twero ho asem awi a ne lawyers benya akwanya etimi de akọ eye high court akọrese ombetimi anya bail e de amana sa nkomobo no ene na nwumre nsu yesi nkonwa etimi e de brao once again media ne Kwame fresh love timi na dwumadi wi medi hu echiame na me sha ase bia na me no di nkomo said ye be ya da ni da nyina no yihia yenso betu ye honfo menye wo sofo ena menye nipa bia ebia wo be expect say de bia no metu fo nenso me mayaya me pese ye ndwendwen nsem bi hu ebetimi aboa ye pa asem ne say never lose yourself trying to win hearts that were never meant to stay. Instead, water the connections that water your soul. And then command nine you best minudi. I told the beer, aya, minu me no ya dream a conquer for Montpellier sem pa. The beer I dream, and I'm a town for, and I read into my town for, and I read in my town for say, and I read the beer my town for, or Momoya my town for Montpemasem, or Mompesam come and you read into your mocha. The beer idea focus. I dream away a terminano, a call and conform Montpellier so. Hoana de bia ya dwen wo adana de bia ho na wo wadwen wo o da sorry our tamfo ade a mekwe kwa nkofo be sire mi o ade a mekwe matamfo be yese yo na ade a mekwe na anye ye matamfo be kase yo de bia ho na wadwen wo ba na mpese me ka che o se adana won sesa wadwen no e ma ne nkonkofo mo do omo do no o ma wadwen ko mo so mo chen nkofo mo mpe wa yeah we believe say obi a watamfo memi wo bi e na mgiri se won so a wo hwɛ me anyumire so no won so wo bi nanso say your channel ye energy ye bibia de konkofo mo do ye a ebetimi aboa ya ma ya focus so e wo bra ye bo ne niam ye nyina no isan say sa nkofo no na omo mo do ye no ene ye ade du ba bi na enkoyi a omo mo do ye na be ka che say Kwame ana say adwoa wade a wo ye unji ni se wo ye ni se anke be ye ono no o criticize wa obe criticize o constructively obe kire o say ya de ne ye na entimi nye ye ba so mo wa adwen konkofo a omo mpe wa asem so a omo de obese da ne da nyina obenya nka wa hwe ase na adafom na wusu na wotete ono kwa no pe ba de odo wo de ebia ne ma nkoyi a obehye wunkuran de odo wo de ohwe ase obeso wonsa apagya wa mo asori de odo wo de eduru ba bia wusu a ona be bepa wani wani su enti ebe me de se na nwure se wo energy bi na da ne da nyina bebo mpaye a ye mo mpaye se eruade nhira nkofo omo do yen Erwade ma ye nkofo mo do ye mra ya brabom erwade ntwe nkofo mo be do ye sade ye tie emfa won se ye wosika na ye niska abusuan ye firim ni ya brabo aye bo no ye benya nkofo a truly nokremu ombetima do ye sade ye tie na no atimi aboa ye ama ya brabo atimi akoye se o ma we energy ne ko nkofo mo do so a dani da nyina no wo confidence o ya ade bia onim se mo nkofo bi ta machi a sa nkofo ne de bia no be chie wo app on be boa mo abrabo na koyi de bia ne ma gugura hwe ase ba on no be boa wo enti let's focus on nkofo mo doye na entimi emwai enti na me say never lose yourself trying to win hearts that were never meant to stay. Instead, water the connections that water your soul and no na ya de na no pay me de enwumre so as baby a wo hwe me bia no metimi de ema ho me twa me ho abasisi a me ba ye de nkomo twetwe na be bra.
Important responsibility on us. We must see health spending as an investment rather than just a social obligation, because a healthy population is indispensable to economic progress. As an advocate for African health sovereignty, I'm obliged to demonstrate this practically at home. And so in Ghana, we have moved beyond rhetoric to implement calculated, aggressive policies that place the citizen at the center of the clinical encounter. With one of the more successful national health insurance schemes in Africa, Ghana has an insurance coverage estimated at 66% as at the end of 2025. This still leaves about 34% of our population without coverage. Besides, the NHIS has been focused principally on curative care with very little attention to preventive care. To mop up the remaining population not covered by the NHIS, we have recently successfully begun implementing our free primary health care program. By removing financial barriers to the most basic and essential services at the rural level, we've ensured that our citizens in the remotest regions of our country also enjoy access to quality health care on par with their urban counterparts with an eye on preventive care. And we're grateful that the WHO, led by Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, was among the first to congratulate us on achieving this significant milestone. Thank you, Tedros. have revitalized our national health insurance scheme, the NHIS. By removing the cap on the health insurance fund, we immediately freed up an additional 3 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $300 million for healthcare investment. We've also streamlined national health insurance scheme operations by eliminating bottlenecks, utilizing digital tools including AI to detect fraudulent claims, and most importantly, prioritizing prompt refunds to service providers. Because a health insurance scheme is only as strong as the trust between the state and the hospitals that provide the care. By ensuring our providers are paid on time, we ensure that our citizens are treated with dignity. We've also confronted the rising tide of non-communicable diseases by launching the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares. This fund is a lifeline for those suffering from non-communicable diseases, cardiovascular conditions, cancers, liver disease, and renal failures that were previously a death sentence for the poor. Mahama Cares is ensuring
Ensama Wakwaba, Ensamra Masem TV, and live on Facebook and YouTube. So, Ubitimi share or her. And then you remember fan as Sekasiama Studio 1061, Studio 061, Studio 061. Omoye barbering shop, Studio 061. Omoye barbering shop. Omo and I am titi meeting kakra. Okay, today why in Anna, Omuna Yom Yitire wa run hangina, kama pa. Say, Udu Sunyaya, in Shira Cosmetics building, no, Omo a chili pair, Omo Ben, a Zenith Bank, no, open no more. And I oba Masemtvgh a premises here, and in the Dean Shanimu direct power. Wait me a friend 059 987 4901 0599 874 901. In Shira Cosmetics, ebitimi ajo so na baby a wo bia no sorry studio 061 ebejo so na omotimi aboa na so baby a wo bia na etima kwakọ yuti no etimi ede amount ewo ho studio 061 omuyitere ko na yenyi utima o kama pa na ebe me de se na nwumre so se wo Facebook ahwe me ana se YouTube na ahwe me no ozo betimi a like ye page no na wa share ama foforo etimi ahwe bi anwumre me wo minua na na ma si di ewa ha ama mema wakwaba na apomiti sai
na so e
na me adom ho ye
ede ya me anse
kiki no so ekiki
ai na me shada se me she na nwumre na me ke sister na surprise me nra
okay
ha wa bring me shoes 4
okay
and no dey lens me enu aka ho
okay
nti vera na me sure wate
okay
me kroma police for amabusu for police for nkwa na wo swag aha nti mashada se me she
obe she de a kire no
aha nti
yes pa so obi chewa de na timi she kire na nde say ade na ode man we ni aso
manage wo keka I just love it
wo da kra beti mash
ai meti mashada
that is true na mema joy comes so akwaba bra akwaba
yeah
apumi ye
me ho ye pa na so
na me adom yi si opoti no anya no
asawe
one
yeah fa bia na
me de tata some person obey my ye bere din
maybe e wo bia no maybe e wo
minim baby e wo so de santina me so one
ayo
ebefa
pa
na nwumre ye nkomobo ni nyina be ye na ano ohwe asem e ba be sie last week I think say certain nkomo no developing story aba wo mu no ene se kwasi ada no yewura minority leader Kwame na Fenyo Market osahene ebe kasa efa detain na ya detain ye Kwame bafo abronyo ye bunu regional chairman ma MPP amanyuku say onkoko twena aban kukuru obi ye 94 sales kosi say ebedi asem ne bewi na eno ena obekasa fa ho ma yentie mra sisi a ye ba ya sate ye nkomobo no enso every waba.
That judge has no respect for his own judicial oath. I don't think he read the law. That circuit court 9 judge, I have no respect for him. For a judge to say that he's remanding Abronye into BNI custody until the case is finally determined. Such a judge can never have my respect. I pray that he summons me for contempt.
Yes.
I will continue to disrespect him until he upholds the law. He's gone beyond his judicial function. And it is not his first. It's as if he has been selected purposely to achieve this. He doesn't talk law. I don't know whether he ever passed his law exam. It's a shame. It's a shame on the judiciary. And my Lord Bafuboni must pay attention to this. For whatever it is, it's about his legacy. I'm told by December he will be 70 and he will be gone. Is that the legacy he wants to leave after Tokonu was booted out of office? And all manner of accusation leveled against Tokonu. Is that the judiciary? The judiciary, they said they were going to reset. Is that the reset? Where a judge will say he is remanding an accused. Because if he allows him to go home, if he grants him bail, he is likely to talk again. So he should remain in custody. In fact, at first, his pronouncement was that Abronyo should go to Nsawam until the case is finally determined. He's already prejudiced the outcome of the case. And this man says he's a judge. I should respect him.
No way.
And Sanfu say, Yedichi. Eyenim Gwasia papa. Ebufusem. That judge.
Kwame na afenyo markings ne nsɛm a nra kwasiada na ano kwasiada nwumre oya press conference no de etudwa eno no ma mintie initial comment Joakim on voice out in say free minority leader.
Yeah, I think say Asemsia was a very circumstantial your first make comments around it. I mean say I remember Afenyomaki or you have stood lawyer and our lawyers, unfair lawyers, officers of the court. Now I say officers of the court, there's a reason why in TIA you hierarchy of the court system. The court back yeah they now pair or call the next court no question no corner na inti say asemasi na say judge no cry no no kwa emfa kwam cry na. These are not the words that you use to describe a judge. Because the judge no na juma yes fine maybe a lot of political cases come on nowadays but na juma na primarily to deal with political cases. How will other people on the cases what do you know? How would they react to such a such a comment near other things? And the initial comment about Abronye worrying, and there's some we know so these other comments by Afenyomaki. And then Afenyomaki, it looks like there's a particular deliberateness to speak away because I say because Afenyomaki Mustafa. The National Youth Salam, the National Youth Organizer, who tell almost all their communicators are within the end of last week and other things. It's like okay, fine, and then let's pick down on the judiciary or whatever it is. Yeah, you might have your issues, but there are judicial remedies built into the legal system. So that's to prevent abuse and that's also to correct some of these things. You know, the judicial system is not built to be perfect. Also in United, as I said, the judicial system is never going to be perfect to our liking. But anything that judicial remedies that will make some of these issues, impugning the integrity of certain justices without knowing the circumstances under which like they are making some of these ruling and other things now. It's unfair. Yes, on the I mean, everyone who reads the thing knows that maybe the judgment was a bit problematic. But then in fact, we don't use mud to clean into some of these comments because what if the judge also take it and entrenched position say okay then this is what I'm going to do. That means that the whole system is coming down under this pardon my language, this piling on the escritor and fine. I think say a more crama, your democracy na your abrasi be build ye.
May I say, Ama, also my initial comment.
Kwame, maybe I wasn't surprised because you remember I said you told Abaniwi I made an humble appeal. Say You're off in your markings. You pay attention to the mental health. And young Crofona, it may accept defeat.
Okay.
Because the honorable Afenyo Markins that we knew before, and now maybe he decided to hide a certain part of him. Because right after election, Ebesi say why I feel some way. Some of the actions and inactions, no, sounds like a deviated from the honorable person he is supposed to be. You see, at the say, owo ba wofie na akra na kodi bone na ye de beto wanim because yen say akra na e bia na dwensha enti nipa no hu say akra nkra me mo no because me bo na akra na akra nko bia wa bebo me ba na ma me no ba na matwe abasa me bo ba enti ne ma me mfa nkoto ne ma me anim o kan wa sem nyina we ma me ni sinti me yende enti we enti na wa na nte free fie aba e de na beba otim no says akra no kra no you get it. I don't know if this is the direction indeed my people want to go. At one point, Kwame, I feel say what they are doing is intentional.
Okay.
You see, there are a lot of things that are happening in the country, but we are not talking about it. A lot of international engagement. IMF, Kwame, we didn't talk about IMF. We didn't give it the needed attention. But Kwame, for how long any politician is say that you should them derive strategy to counter any progress because we are opposition. It might be a good one, but I think say at this moment, Abino and calling the security agencies to order na inja or life more.
Okay.
Because say media you can't say also so I won't come once. And the omoye no one real bechi party for nina. At the end of the day, who lose? You, the government, you are losing. Because attention wasn't the Mao project we are not getting it. Obiya can't bring us. And then you see now a party na free zone authority director on when I call Cassetia
that's free zones.
Free zones. Yeah. I think say na come say ma calling BB say for misconduct.
Okay.
Enti okokasa no presidency eba be pacho. In fact, to the extent that the chief of staff had to cry. It tells you say even if it was a calculated agenda, presidency was never in support.
Okay. But
in a situation whereby when we are dealing with another misconduct and then the party decides to also respond with another misconduct, it tells you that it is a calculated attempt to grab attention.
Okay.
Now you're shifting attention free what is happening in the country. But I just want to tell my people that is that the way they want to go? Is that how they want MPP to be recognized now? It looks like MPP and NDC are swapping. Because here they media possibly let me talk about myself.
Kakra on the video no.
Yes.
I'm saying about proper discussion.
I said video that's gonna make us say
details.
The kind of MPP we knew was elite. Conform comport your once or mono be now we presume that NDC so is on go for yo womb. But no, in fact, responding to these things, you realize that NDC is relaxed. Communicators in are being constructive.
Okay.
But penny people be na no you never de me abema mega kekai. Penny be all party no be na no responding to sad nema we nyina some of beka bia so another content. Let's see how far they want to go with it. But I think our buying should call it to order. Whatever they want to do, Ghanaians will judge people individually by their conduct. This should not shift government's attention.
Joachim, were you expecting Ghana Bar Association say release my press release concerning the Afenyo marking the kind na?
Yeah, I think the Ghana Bar Association since '92, like since they are founded, has positioned themselves as defenders of the judiciary. That an association of officers of the court, they will be able to protect the image of the judiciary, even though say they've not lived up to expectation a lot of ways, especially when they're coming from certain corteses. But yes, I think that I was not really expecting it to come, and I was very happy when it came.
Okay.
That's
don't you think because fellas kwachu for subeka 117 quick on beka 117?
Well, I mean, initially, because I said on make statement on Sunday, but they took latest backlash about Monday na. Yeah, take a statement. Man, that's not about what.
Me who say the
interview now. Yes.
Interviewer, spokesperson, and
granted, okay, say yes. So even actual statement hasn't come, but we've seen similar comments, and then how quickly the Ghana Bar Association reacted. And for me, that is where the issue really comes in. Okay. The Ghana Bar Association, in fact, they've played a very important role in the national destiny. But conduct, it looks more slanted, especially when it comes from it comes from certain quarters. When it comes from like the NDC side now, they are more condemning than when it comes from mostly the NPP side.
Because NDC for the NDC need a car, same say there
quickly.
Release at the release. MPP they release my
a lot of comments.
They have spokesperson in the back side.
So okay, this is not the first time. Oh, you remember the comments around even the Baba Amando release?
Okay.
All the lawyers, the comments that the lawyers made, the lawyer Bafo of Manshia,
okay,
the Manshia South,
okay,
any other things, the comments they all made.
Nana Bafo
lawyer, yes, honorable. And the comments he made and other things now. For me, I was expecting Senka even if they condemn what is going on, which is right to be condemned, they should also call some of the lawyers to order. Say, Sahanyama be saying Namoka emfa because I mean I'm not learned like the I cannot think I mean at the end of half maybe I can but on no lawyer ni that's what be no can say other lawyers no be no can say and I'm how can you hold me responsible? You can't. And see, I think that it does not give now you see they are here for see like lawyers ni be respect the judiciary now my you are respecting say the law court is supposed to where asem na kotwa
honest asem
na twa you can asem ho be you can we twa the mentia the ntia these things are happening even if it's happening like even if it's happening now, what do you do? There are remedies. Let's use those remedies. There are ways that you couch your commitment. So what's here lawyer equal to? And he's from the same stock. When lawyer equal to is commenting about even things that he's angry about the court. Even what's in the comments, even during Madam Tukono.
Okay.
Right honorable ne time like even Tokono. Like even the level, even like you saw the anger in how he was saying, but his choice of words were pristine. So what's going on now? All of us as if as a shudder. Yeah, say is it show be a bufu, there, we are spoiling everything, we are destroying everything. That I don't think it helps. The democracy in Nigeria but it's still very fragile. And I think that we should be very measured in some of our conversations. Protecting democracy. If the judge is wrong, the judge is not beyond reproach. That's the truth. The judge is not beyond reproach. And what say to me, we have to be able to tell him that they are not above the law. However, even though they are not above the law, but there are ways that you are supposed to say it. You can even charge, you can even lodge a complaint for misconduct. And you can even lodge complaint for misconduct, and you have your evidence. There are judges are rulings near they put you on discipline. This thing. It doesn't matter whether it's politically motivated or not, but at least you put the person through. You put the person's record on at least say. And come away, Krana, just going through discipline embarrasses him enough. Than say, this public as a playing to some gallery, as it serves a certain purpose that we don't know of. Because it looks like just this arrest is not just good for. Like it's bad for Abronya, but ordinarily what happens? The lawyers and the judges fight for. The lawyers and your lawyer fight for your freedom and your safety.
Okay.
That's the main thing. But the focus now is how much political capital can we get from this? Okay. So it's like Abronya's freedom, even though it has been curtailed by the actions of the judge, is being further curtailed by the own party for political purposes, which is not fair on him.
Your takes on Ghana Bar Association, others say you know official statement from them. You know official statement, just that the spokesperson, you know, and I think I make a comment. What condemning the Kwame na Federal Markins, can you know? Were you expecting say Anabeko?
Kwame, in as much as say your war expectations, no, I think say organizations and unions and all of that, we can't dictate for them when and how they want to exercise their their powers or their restrictions or whatsoever. And see, ABI in our own common sense, no, we're waiting because previously they've done that. That ABI BBC say back quickly, they will release a statement. But that does not also give us the right to think that today they will do that.
Okay.
And see, I am not so much
with the people who are more say first question for example, say NDC for and Aquacan Sembia, quick Ghana Bar Association ebe release statement. But the MPP na Aquacantino omo release statement bia. Until then I bet is a spokesperson be can ba bontin e condemn you. So no Ghana Bar Association e suma no. So no suma no mpo no. Nobody knows.
So he is speaking from a political perspective. And so I want to speak from a journalistic perspective.
Okay.
And see what I am saying is yes, we expect that if indeed they are a mother body to all legal practitioners in the country, na bibi kobonia. I mean, say Ghana Bar Association judges are part of it.
Yes.
Lawyers,
but they are judges who are members because of their lawyer situation. Yeah.
So it is
you will be pass it through lawyer no na
judge. For now, Ghana Bar Association comprises of legal practitioners and lawyers. And ideally, judges for sure. So what are we expecting? Are we expecting them to condemn what a member has done, or are we expecting them to call the member to order? Yes, we are expecting. I'm expecting that if indeed they are not in support of whatever is going on, probably a simple statement will do. But then also, association, they have their own discretion as to what is good or bad. So maybe to Ghana Bar Association, the Iraf in your markings are Kenya, also a lawyer or a member of the association. And say he's a practicing lawyer.
Yeah, he's a member, yeah.
And Kwamba for Abronyaka, Afa Ira, a high court judge, and probably they are waiting for someone to be bold enough to tell the man said or the oil in Obiabeka. So to them, and you're wrong. We can't define it for them. But we're expecting that whether you are in support or not, at least say something. But yeah, lawyer for.
Yeah.
Who said there is contempt of courts.
Yeah.
Who say you can't do anything at the courts. You can't just attack a lawyer and go scot a judge and go scot free.
Yeah.
So per their discretion, say where you're normal. Now it doesn't deserve their attention. So be it. Okay. But we do not want to see another day. Somebody else will do the same, and they will come and issue a statement. And not there. Mobema Ghana for will be compelled. Or they Chamukono, Yaman in Chamunko. But a ne, Sako to cry, Kwame. A year in some year, dear chum, and a year a dance a reference.
Yes.
A year ruling. Until before a judge in a ruling, announcing the ruling, you know. Odi can acquire references, cases, I would draw judges be more on in relation to Asemna Abano. And it's so ordinary Ghanaians. Niesi nay, we are watching.
Okay.
We are not politicians to say, Sabia, or more support to NPP for NPP for year, but no man can. No moment this is for the air and come back. Ye politician.
Okay.
But the air can as common people as we are. Ye did the see to her. Nyam buano china, some Masemtvgh On. And I mean, yes, I'm trying to be. Echo repeated the same thing. Na yenya Ghana Bar Association mo mbeka say omo condemn ana say some troni na ono so bia me menye but some troni bi so betimanya kokodo say okay say dey katastia judge for a normal
a constitutional right
constitutional right obi a right
say na me so metimi akabi na akabi ye kwa ni ma
enti ye besere say baby amo hwehwe ni se nyame adom na abronye case itwam a ne amo yiyi aba nyina de bi be ya dance
yeah
because one much like and say, sir, judge 4 weeks here, show me creative disrespect. Sir, and shut down and your life be a until you're funny, sir, because you're rough in your market is not just an ordinary person. Until some trouble, yes, you have him more. In this or Chinabi, I hey. Nagana Journalist Association, yeah, Remy. Now some 20 views of TV, so because I'm more gown no crown, he to me move on. Now, you're more lawyer for AD. Any parliamentarians and nay party food so the man because some trouble no yes so your party at there near so your children say yes your press freedom
okay
now your right to we have our own rights and so say yes your microphone you want much you do actually
okay ma me and that say wo hwe obi obetimi a member of Ghana Bar Association almost say legal practitioners omo yes solicitors ni barristers and a magistrate.
Okay.
Okay. So emutimi a member of Ghana Bar Association and so no. My yenhwe abra after say Ghana Bar Association ebe condemn and yenfa say the second omo exposed person ebe kasa fa ho no. Another development story aba no and say NDC amanyuku no say baby asemu yakwakodu no ese say yetimi etu hu anamo ne say ese say yetimi chi Kwame na afanya markets contempt eno ya ade ba kwa gidi se na sem no kan na do stage ese ye chi ne contempt ana yo
lofty onum say asem we buy na ni edi nkomo bi na me ka kire say no osheda
no kan asem
osheda because onim say ida yentimi find sanka no or don sakana to be a bigger case
okay.
And yes, chino contempt. It's just going to give him like more mileage.
Chino contempt.
Yes, more mileage. See, I do a bit of interest. It's I'm happy that he said that judge cannot have my respect. Luckily for us, the judge doesn't need your respect to operate.
Okay. So respect non fanya.
No, or the mandate the law gives him. And stuff not the case. So thank God the judge doesn't need any of our arrest, even though we are supposed to. But the judge doesn't need your respect just because you don't like the judgment. So if you don't like the judgment, there are things that you should do. I'll be to my it's a one man here and I say, oh yes, you don't have my yes. Of course, there are people who have not respected several people in this country.
Yeah.
There are people who have not respected so many people in the country. It didn't mean that the person doesn't have the mandate to do what they did. The point is that when you should remedy this contempt of court, I don't mean it's not necessary to me. It's just another layer of we are under persecuted. I mean, I think that it's not necessary at all.
I'm answering.
Kwame, to read the definition of contempt in Ghana, what contempt of court means in Ghana. It means that also contempt of court in Ghana is any intentional conduct, act, or omission that defies the dignity and authority of the judiciary, disrespect a judge, or tends to obstruct and interfere with the fair and orderly administration of justice. It is an offense against the court itself rather than a personal offense. You get it? So what it means is that you can't say before judge be one. It is an offense against the court and not the individual.
Okay.
What I say, that is what the law says. Against the court itself rather than a personal offense against the presiding judge. The court holds the inherent power to cite and punish anyone for contempt to ensure that the rule of law is not compromised. So there are two types of contempt. We have the criminal contempt and other contempt, civil contempt. So criminal actions or statement that brings the judicial system into disrepute, scandalize the court, or intentionally obstruct the proper administration of the justice.
Okay.
So in the case of Afenyo Americans and Co, I think it's a civil contempt I don't know, but then they've not attacked any judge. They've not tampered with any logistic whatsoever that belongs to the court. So the lawful, or say for civil contempt, the willful refusal to comply with a lawful order, judgment, or decree may be made by a court. In all, no, yes, nka the era for your mark and senior abroad you contempt court in the betting aye. But Kwame, you see, your sister will be cool the bay. Ama I want trauma as a drug the manufacturing moves so and I feel say this
is about a normal. Say jai trauma nuque, say be garas as a druntino, and I say be normal.
No, and yet norm.
Okay.
I want the court to take a stand. But you see, that thing is taking a political shift. That is why I said, say, the contempt request coming from Felix. And now, yes, Felix felt like I was a court on the chain of contempt. And
Osha, private legal practitioner and petitioner Justice Abulai. I want also the Abasa at least associating citing a contempt.
So it is the where decision is solely the judiciary in the bed decided. So I expect that NDC in training home frame, presidency in training home frame.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, even though they are calling president and blah blah blah, we know that within the political environment, some of these things you do. But the judiciary, as an independent body that have its own powers, onim what a contempt is defined under their jurisdiction, would decide to take it on. Possibly, Chief Justice can come in because Rana Mayati say once you attack a certain judge, it is not more an individual offense again. It is an offense against the court and the judiciary.
On his own revolution.
So, in the coming days, I want to hear from the judiciary. They have an administrative structure. Let all political parties draw back. I am expecting saying that judiciary need to take any decision. I expect the presidency, in fact, President John Dramani Mahama, to intervene and appeal that they should let them go.
They should let who go?
They should let Abronye.
And don't you think say Esana president interfere? Judicial.
Anything I may say, Yera fellas appeal not coming premature. But in the coming days, I'm expecting say judiciary need to take a decision. But what I say? Because now no confusion here between the New Patriotic Party and the judiciary. And you heard them mention the Chief Justice name. You're about for money, Bonnie. So media until say the judiciary no better take stand. When you call from the presidency that you are alerting them to take a contempt a year, I say one who two or more. But then they are the owners of the law. In fact, they are interpreters of the law. And we are not supposed to tell them, say, way action, way a contempt. They know where to refer to, and they know, in fact, the Supreme Court sits in their palm. So they know what it means. They are and they know the necessary laws to back with whatever decision they want to take. So I want the presidency to draw back. Let's watch as Ghanaians. The judiciary in person maybe they have had access to this. Or possibly, the judge can also decide to lodge an official complaint to the judiciary because he's also under their watch. That say, and someone has done to my image, and I felt say it is a dent on my reputation, and so this is what I'm requesting. They can do that. Not judiciary, I issue statement by Biojina as to whether they want to see this as a contempt or not, because Kwame, this particular case, I will be glad to say man take a political shift. And yes, sir, Kwame, enkosi baby. At the end of the day, people will keep on doing this over the years. Now, no yenti kroma say na ye call high court, Kumasi court ba or nyim, judge or nyim. Ye see change of government aba ruling because who the assembly abrani opposition tino ya ba. Ya pamo ni ya wone si abonten.
Abra no di asem.
Na onyem. ama o man no kra take decisions afa die kra no vigilante groups ni ntwam enti me pesa me te free judiciary no because all these cases no mere tag no matter against mahama animu bi na say but ideally they've not attacked the president in the case. And where do you come in? They've not also attacked NDC. So where do you come in? That's what I say. You have nothing.
We comments bebre kra Mustafa Salam making that dia ombe ma ban no untimi mum man no e wo nema bebre say for this coming is ye abronya ombe ma this country will not be governed properly for governable for aban no was the see no so it means na mo buy no na mo be chichi enko for mo na mo buy NDC for mo buy na as mainly no focus no judge ne de ne wo ho e na mo say NDC for e na mo share chire mo chichi
and omo de na rant. It's a normal thing that politicians do. A rant, I mean it does. You see the focus here and say ade we on my ye no and kaya they can you judiciary no. Kwame, mind you say you are 3 arms of government. Your judiciary, your legislation, and your executive.
Yes.
Executive no is purely political and TJD wo mumuni e sheki. And you say so police na nka ebia ye de mo ya yi no so ye nheda nje omu ni. Ni aka aye court no. In fact, previously anas expose ni ba ye no. It created a certain barrier bi. An image bia the judiciary is still struggling to correct.
Okay.
Over the years now for the background I mean those things in see during that period now we're recording instant justice a lot.
Okay.
Because people feel like ubeja punch na asem no de me akoje bi I mean nifa on. Nti sa ne man won say yes go back to sa suban way and na abronya ye because of your politics obi an cancer na make actually some 12 for best start here. You can't do anything because they are bringing the reference. Until your cocoa can add an abronya yes, and one can tell you I am munya area. Now, so now Babeka. And I want the judiciary as a body, an independent body, to stand on its toes. Now, on take a decision as to whether they will describe Yeraf who is a member of the judiciary. The response, you find abronya crowd on your Leonard. So on your lawyer, on your lawyer. That is the point. On your lawyer. What's your law on your lawyer? So he's not part of the judiciary. Onimumra, Obi Awako yellow be. Why LLB there? Until you pass to be LLB, they say normal people do it.
Okay, he has knowledge of the law.
Yes, and when you are it is a one thing having a knowledge of the law and being knowledgeable in the law. There are two things. Inti patrol. I know the phantom because I know come money case in West. No lawyer will talk like the way he talk. Because you respect a channel and a baby. Some lawyer for no court. Omunshebi. Nti who catch na say Ghana channel. Ya dey a lawyer for near some bota. Who or a lawyer ko beshebi. So enti point na say judiciary no and take stance. I want presidency to stand on the NDC some penny baby intana. We nya mo match. Focus on the first abronya ye MPP ni and whatsoever. Focus on say ye Raf in your market ye MPP ni and on MPP. Focus on say the content now omodia ato hono. Is it wrong or bad? Judiciary come and explain to us.
Okay.
It's too much. We've not heard anything. And ya ye cheche when ye ne beka che mo say contempt. Emrano wo mu fie ho. Nti contempt ya. You do justice, but now fellas I call it say yencho mo contempt na judicial
justice abula idea no
nti say na e bia party for say ayi so aba kakama Ghana ba fellas kasa we afa na mo issue mo aba kasa nti say na no kokoso na take political thing obi aba shisha politics aye de ope ti judiciary no ye koya pese ehu unless maybe you mo aye mo say dey nyina timi ka bidi ene na freeman dey ko no Kwame ye nyina dey ho agim.
Okay. Mra on the issue of nanwa ye ko mo court abronye court ya ye say onkoda aban kukum say nya afia say aban kukum for 2 weeks ko yise be di na asem ne be wi no ye nhwe mo betimi junior betimi di we na to so de amaye wo nsem a e ba beto odwa no e ho menim say eno e ba ye ne nchechiremu a na e wo abro mo court no lawyers mienu na no mo ko gina mu no edi no. Say Oshe said in the circuit court held in Accra on 13th day of May 2026 before his Honor Joseph Yenumba Kunson. Now I say the Republic versus Kwame bafo abronye accused person present and a complainant state absent. And I'll say that's a representation. No, say DSP Manunyameche being led by the ACP Alex Don or Donko for the Republic present. Daniel Mate Ado with Eugene Ansa for the accused person present. Prosecution. This is a fresh case and we would like to take the plea of the accused person. We humbly pray they withdraw the previous charges sheet filed on 14th of April 2026 and substitute same with the one filed on 12 May 2026. Now, court by court, let the charge sheet with number GR/AC/D18/543/2026 be withdrawn and amend with number the same number boy and GR/no say the commission of an offense. The allegation is yet to prove before this honorable court, and my lord takes judicial notice of the process so far in that particular case. My lord, the accused person as it stands has not committed any crime, and that is why we are before this honorable court. So for the prosecutors to allude to the fact that the accused person may commit crime is not the position of the law. Also, the call to refuse bail is an attempt to prevent the citizens from expressing their freedom of speech as captured in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. I call on this court to apply the laws of the Republic of Ghana, admit the accused person to bail, and the accused person will always appear before you to stand trial to challenge the allegation leveled against him. I humbly submit, and by court, the counsel of the accused pray, and also the end say, the counsel of the accused pray for bail on the grounds that the accused was already granted bail by the police. Counsel further submitted that the accused will be available before the court to answer to the charges level against him. The prosecution in this submission opposed the bail on grounds that the accused will commit further offenses when granted bail. Prosecution read Riley on section 96 clause 5 CD of Act 30 of 1960, section 208 clause 1 of the Act 29 of 1960, and section 296 clause 4 of the Act 30 of 1960 to buttress his argument. This court has considered the argument put up by both counsel for the accused and the prosecution. The court is of the view that when granted bail, the accused will commit further offenses. This court specifically relies on section 96 clause 5C and D of the Act 30 of 1960. Accordingly, the bail application by the counsel for the accused is refused. The accused is hereby remanded into BNI custody to appear before the court at the next adjourned date. And the next adjourned date, the next adjourned date, prosecution is also ordered to conclude their work and file disclosures within 14 days to ensure speedy trial of this matter. The case is adjourned to 27th May 2026. Signed, His Lordship Joseph Yenumban Kunson, Circuit Court Judge. Yenumban Kunson, Circuit Court Judge. And teacher said, he said, "Yeah, course, so our court Nina, and I really met me a can Nina at the amount." O comment here then. She said, "Target," and he said, "Young far brought him cotum for 2 weeks." Sadia Baya on to me, Piabo and Tim McCann and Fufrobia. Now, because no case will order that. And no, Onya quiet cotton abontin, no, some make it the same idea. It is why I said, and I said, the infant question, Kakra. Now, you near some dear some new year. And don't think you can't with media some hey, asemi.
Yeah, I mean, near some the parts of the judgment is a bit problematic because so okay, some of the defense of the defense now and the lawyers put it up and say, first of all, your laws say you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
To cause or committee offense, that means when one man you have already given the guilty
and just o man kwan obasana the same thing ni bi already know why born
the defense is a stake. I face one other interesting thing say omunyina koti like omunyina koti Martin Pebu. So say Martin Pebu was this famous legal matter on the matter of bail.
Yes.
And prosecution knew when Kutu Martin Pebu versus the Republic. Omina make points the the defense say Article 14. Emma no kwan so onya bail. Now face Martin Pebu against the Republic I say there's no offense in Ghana here that you cannot grant bail.
Yeah.
So for that was the major thing I'm rely on. That say where so you should judicial discretion you may restrict the person's human rights.
Okay.
After the prosecution rely on section 96 5 C and D of article 30. I'm just say the offense they attract a punishment of more than 6 months.
Okay.
It's more than 6 months they are. Then ubetimi ubetimi say ujana na so okoye more kan wa enka case we ho.
And so be another case.
And already no say okaya omochi no mujai no say before this omochi no. Enye nya baba mando time chi no. We say before baba mando time no mochi no.
Say ye chi no. Through baba mando chi no kwa na many hu say say no osho.
Black Maria, okay Black Maria.
Okay, oh yes.
Black Maria. So Black Maria no mochi no. Mochi no. Like omuja no before say on the old kotum kwa no man
energy more energy. Okay, the Black Maria there no na omo kan wa dem omuja no no some make another
the same thing. Okay, so because of that he will go and do more. Nti say the offense na less than 6 months there, then you can give him like you cannot grant him the bail pending case with yes he'll go and make the case worse.
Okay.
And then to further complicate the matter. I think that's what in the court sided with the prosecution. How now a man for be like any issue no.
Okay.
I feel so a presumption of innocence no so no. Now say say okay fine. Oh yes, then you are saying say a small can wait. But the person is only defense. The person is only exercising his freedom of speech or his right to free speech. And not all ye. It is a so be kwa say bon make so free court on come no. It doesn't make sense.
That be and there so
good. It is okay say unless you are putting restrictions on say on kasa biema, then won't mean kasa memma like memma no enkana same biema.
Okay.
Which was the part the defense would made sense. But not say denying bail under the circumstances as an attempt to prevent the citizen from is not an attempt to prevent the person citizen from freedom of speech. That's we say okay say okwa man nkasa biem no, then you are going to prevent the freedom of speech.
Yes.
So if that's your argument, so that's the argument that defense ejina and say his rights and then allegiances na m1. Now Kwame na judge ni say okay fine. Counsel no yes say bail now on granting is for further investigation.
Yes. So
further investigation. No say last year I can say if for getting more data and anything from it now, that means that why is it? Last year I can say why the prosecution can say the police had enough time to pull the data from the website. The police had enough time to do the investigation while he was away.
Okay. On
bail, on a police inquiry bail. Why didn't they do all that? So for me, those are the parts now. And you see, there's a reason why the Constitution made our rights sacrosanct, and then you cannot touch it. Okay. Even though we put in limitation everything later, but you making sure say your law no like say entrenched in the Constitution was because those things like you take those decisions. It's all decisions no. Even though say so for me, that's why this case if it's a matter of freedom of speech now, many police no issue. Okay. There are many police will issue this whole case and say, if the police had found something criminal about his speech now, why are they not communicating it?
But okay, police. Okay, okay, yes. Okay.
There's a reason why a criminal.
But investigate and release in one.
ne press release ana ne or the
court
yeah no the court mahu no
ba won pay no person ka police for
as
public relations for release it okay
yes because unim your kind of court no he omo say it will create public peace
yeah
how is that the last year make them will say obi ana judge na ka obi asa asem e be judge na ka obi fi asem. Now that pronouncement makes sure that then judge, you know, if the judge said, "It's me, MPP, so it created that kind of mistrust for
the judge,
the judge, and for me, and it's not just the judge, it's the court.
Okay.
So say, you've not offended the judge, you've offended the court.
The court.
In the essence, what would the court do? Redeeming. So for that means that public mistrust for the court is a problem.
Okay.
So if you have gotten that angle, communicate it. You know, say, is it a matter of national security? Is it a matter of communicate it? One communicating, that's all now jay. Now if yes, okay, then we know that the freedom of speech and freedom of speech there. You cannot argue against freedom of speech. They offer other things, and I'm surprised that they are not even using and for me, and I'm the case in Suya Holo Kakano. Okay. They are not using the Electronic Communication Act as a defense.
And also crying Nimu.
None of them. And that's even where preventing misinformation and publication of false news.
Because the by Nina has to do with a breachy public peace.
Public peace. So for me, that's why I issue no one.
Okay.
We are not lawyers. Maybe the lawyers will have a better interpretation.
Send their own person or the court now.
Yes, exactly. So me, I think that's where case now a shaky kakra. But again, me
so I'll say a breach of the peace.
Yes, but then the person used electronic this thing, and then he the just reading the electronic communication. There's a problem there.
And account two, no, so or say it is likely to cause fear and panic,
so
and disturb the public peace.
Yes, so they're not even looking at any of all those things, even with the amended charge sheet.
So the opposite of the court, no, the beko.
Exactly. So that's why we said even the police is not convinced about what they've done. Okay. And for me, that who's a case from Bamando Nyama, police na chisa say the police is the problem.
So Omonfa release him.
That they are not communicating to the people.
Okay.
They are not communicating with us. So what they are doing is that they are rather now. So it looks like as if they are puppets in this thing, which is problematic. And the police should be able to say, "This is your channel." Well, these are the things that are backing it into their channel. Okay. Then we are able to sift that between because right now the only people we've heard from is the opposition party, which the Abronye belongs to, and then nothing and no one else.
Okay.
And for me, that's why that's a whole big issue about this. As for the judges' conduct, I cannot sit here and say that. I think some of his comments here were problematic, but I cannot sit here and say I think that the General Legal Council and other disciplines can be used to handle his. But then for what was in front of him, remanding him for that long, for me, I think it wasn't necessary. But the comments that have come after that is very worrying.
After saying they transpire, and of course, we'll call to one or we'll comment on that.
Kwame, like Joe Kine say if it's crime because a name United I say police are now on a jurisdiction. Your cases are police in handle, and I hold a reserved opinion about police and how they handle some cases in this country. That case be wah instead say kebia complainant na craba no be a complainer. You bet church so case where they civil matter until maybe a fakoma lawyers and not be no. In fact, cases that are civil matters na police for na genoma criminalizing. So we tell you two things involved. Either say you go to court and lose, even though you were supposed to win. You better say I say police court to Naika mbwa. Court to Naika police Naika.
Police Naika so police no omo tata ngo for ka.
Nti ube say obi di obi ka nipa no in his or her mind no adwene say okobo police for amane na o imagine sika because omo no mo familiar to them.
Yeah.
or the Koyanka police in the catching so a card de peloya ni and now for court says in no police for education. Now or be acquiring defrauding by false pretense. And now say
defrauding by false pretense, babbing the another criminal case.
Until about criminalize case.
Okay.
Onya ne crime a osika no nse ashim. Na woni mode ona wa ya na makoko to. Na sometimes asem no bi wo ha intentionally prosecutors ni bi. Obetima gya ade ba akwa ade na ye me I've been to court judge no anya adaje or educate prosecutor.
Okay.
Say, do you really understand your job? Because intentionally uni say honom so munya sika. Case no ye drag no ye go back and forth na so mu hunahuna na ye se ko pe bail nti court no ye ya che no nom de akwa court se embeli no ye court abe ne ye ko ye you know ko ho akwaje unipa no koda no this o twa because I business. And that is where the problem is, that sometimes they move beyond their jurisdiction. And it's a police, you know, if you say abronye case, you know, a crime, because here we see defamation, we see contempt of court, and that is not within your jurisdiction.
Okay.
Defamation is in your police accent.
That be a papa na you can't ask him.
Papa,
judge no.
Or no be decide.
Or no be decide.
Yeah.
Papa
and a contempt no so.
And a man can't judge in Tim Papa na.
And defamation of character no. Sent down maybe a judge no. Or no any personality be decide so be sue and obey jam wako. And maybe a contempt no so borders on maybe at the court where the judiciary also comes in. And it's our case in me way. And we dear hina mumudimu. Must okay. Public peace mbwa. Say public peace is there. Now, also use social media there. Why are they also not using the Communication Act? Nti, mama, what creating room for people to criticize you? Nti, Drew baby, the minority or the MPP might have a case to say, I said, Masha Dano.
I said, me a lawyer, and I'm a prosecutor, and I'm the Assembly Court. Some baby, I'm sure meet me a winning case, but we are me farm every any case. And yet, they will pay. When you say baby I'm marrying no and I'm going see case when you say dry cam about bome and I say we be prame no ma be case. Okay. Case where case a momo per mumra definition ma tracy obi am case ma why do police for na hu no mo exactly
complainants
nti mu na mo ye the public complainant nti wo na wo be define a kire yen de nti a wo feel say police no mo within your jurisdiction say obi na be case say ebia abronye ye say no wa ye dede to atu amaso ana say wa ma me say obi oba ye sa case ni dia no wa gina no so I decide where you think you will win for the complainant. Okay. But wo na wo say pe wo mra na utumi e de ama wo no ba bia wo te no one monitor ne movement ni bibia hu say niam ni bi wo ha o ya etia ye peace ya som bia ye de Ghana, which is a crime. Okay. Any ordinary person back actually say nkrofo yo mu gina dwam o mo ye body ayi e wo che o mo tiatia mu redu e say untime nna e wo Ghana eno so say no so interfere with public peace eno so there na my found you get it. So yes e be ma mra ye adwuma ye nyina we are calling for say mra nya adwuma o Ghana ha. But mama you see as an avenue. We you create room for criticisms. Okay. Enti police no and ama case way aye de aye no. Ama ebia minority no so feel say obi wo personal interest. Okay. Samo de crime aspect of the case. You issue an official statement, you back it by law because abranya amfa megaphone. And then the market everybody will cancel or use a channel that is being regulated by laws and acts. Okay. And also cyber security laws or communication laws and I be internet crying and nema so and to I use social media at their canasem yen him said the content of assem no can defame what defame will be character and was attack judges and only they stand it. Okay. I say judiciary no better take the matter on maybe aja because they say across the judiciary in case on be sue on contempt. Judge na nkasa so betimi sue no on defamation and boa. Yes. Because say individual also betimi decide in the person. But where do you come as the police? Time amu ba mu no na mbe kire ya ase ame yate ase. Yeah. But mu nkare nkire yen mu kodu court a as a judge ni mo na ebe bisa mo ye sure say time amu ye de amamu ye be so mo. Mind you, ma di kan achi nipa no. ama mama ni bill and oko ade na si mu kwan se mu man ni be during the period no we nya afa na mu ko tutu nipa akoye postmortem. The videos are there on Nyinfiri ho ededa ho ye mo bi da bia nti evidence be mbiem no mo pe police no evidence be mbiem you need 2 weeks to do your evidence and abronya he mo de 10 years or ba still oba be ka foforo
nti munyina na
nti omunja na man me ka foforo.
David, the point is that if you have any caution, you caution him. If be on sign bond you do that. But keeping him in custody will not change the character Abronye.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you are shifting national attention. And see all the why now or G Bela or Kokore and wire. What was the police doing? What were they doing? Because more bail will be or for you are delaying the case for what? Whose fault? Yeah, and forensic audit be was some way.
Oh, omo
so we had the
investigator no omo watching video
no that's initial
now the video na in South Africa
that be omo dey call forensic lab
na
for nhwehwemu
edited and I say okay
omo dey call nhwehwemu
obi a live video at the whole live na edited
but say
ana abronye AI
no the issue ni say betimi akọ court no betimi amaka the lawyers is betimi agina so aka say there be asanyon na kan AI crowd na so bi na dey so they need to go and investigate
enti aden the starting process lawyers and yes argument and yen cof evidence ma
so o hwe Brad Kandapa ne ono ye o ma brief about one is the investigator no na some o kan wa na ma o say let me read you. I say the particular video and others are being pulled and will be sent to the police forensic lab for analysis. Case under investigation
are being pulled. Now there's a more are being pulled is in no continuous.
Yeah, what make us say? What make?
As at that time, they're not failure no more.
Yes.
So I bet take how many years?
Ose, ebi na data no so. Nti we chance na watwitwa.
Kwame yeti ese ya kasa abronye ayi ni ye download ya download.
Wo data we different from the police wo.
Oh, never faster.
Kwame no, I mean yeah, you see Sanyama we am case. Enti ne backlog cases go court wo no. Unnecessary delay. Watch nipa na now if you say oh a year in fact period them ye chairman say 1 month aba is it not enough to do investigation on this case?
Okay,
it's so enough that video evidence if in the, and you cry police you the only thing you have to do is that within the video and some kind portion na mumu feel say a criminal no kwotwa.
Yeah,
you don't need the whole video until I only channel na bedi how many months much 1 month 2 weeks sometimes we cannot rent police for no. They are making things so difficult for us.
Okay.
Ebanisa you create room for unnecessary tension. Near first way you near first one more police for no. A drama no my no.
Police for no.
The audio way fatu ho. Mona mo say ye de ye ni me ayeti no ye say defamation. Any contempt of court.
To you no
to ye.
But ono police.
Enti wuna watie wontie yanka onkoche no. Nti utie ye no ni minute ye editing on newsroom so utie obia ukiu portion ope enti eye de na hu say crime aspect wo abronya asem no because watie enti if you cross untimi nkotwe video ni ntwa kora do you know what you can do ukoko to I will say video no from this hours to this minute to this minute ebia from the 15th minute ekosi ebia 30th minute no it was crime. Without even pulling the video, the court will then request. Say, be a member. Sometimes I am play or a courtroom or crime.
Yes.
Tina no say the shame no come nya fe ne started. Near queue to a 15th minute no. Near tie sa portion na wo ka no. Ye tie na enye crime there that is why the for no kofie. Ye tie na ye crime e ka. You can also decide say boko kwatwa hall kakra no. Na de ababa ye. We no e be take 3 years.
Davi.
Sometimes munye ne mama muye sa no mama tension abakronum ade we ye de ye
tension abakronum
oh na say Kwame nke be come man puntuo for the past 2 weeks ye kan abronya asem ono ye adwuma nie mama dan mu by force sometimes ye kan okranche institutions and agencies enya mu na mo be che so obi agobi hu fi mu de ewo mu no go and give your evidence.
If you have identified it, point out.
You can't tell us that you haven't identified it.
Now
I don't dear because what set a case?
We need date now. Omode case na sen 27th. Sa 27th na nkamu for di
Sala.
Idi Adano.
Is that a holiday no?
A holiday. Adechi say is it Thursday?
The 27th near Thursday next week.
Just
Friday.
No, a Wednesday.
A Wednesday. Adechi Thursday. Yeah.
I am.
Again, again, the police no file and so they do. I was say, Omuna they are fault. I brought your lawyers, no, and I brought your lawyers and any police no, because are being pulled. You raise the issues are being pulled. You never know for the past 1 month.
And I feel I'm
better.
And there's a brand here fast crown anka. Oko delete content na. And get backfire, but they say Ghana away. Aseni nya quote say ye ka say obi kura ye screen recording dada.
No on delete here no crown kire say. Onu no asem a waka nsuro.
Unse yo maka original copy.
Yeah.
Original copy ni say obi ko for kwotwe na okogye a.
Passing through.
Passing through layers. No, the reason why we're going to forensic to see whether it's been layered or something like that. No, I think to make sure say when it's a crime, they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So,
yes.
For me, I think that Abanya lawyer, the police has done a lot of wrong. Because it's a marker. You say defamation and then
contempt.
Contempt. Say if it's defamation, that's a more police man who say
crime.
There's a criminal aspect to it. Why are you not communicating that? Again, who
has a normal job when you soon have
Article 29. I mean, can I say? I say 2009, count 1 and 2. Second one, count 1 in breach of Article.
At 29.
Yeah, no. Yes, no, not at 29. What's the count? No.
Okay.
First count on offensive conduct conducive for breach of peace.
Yeah.
And on there, it's section 207 of the Criminal Code. That's at 29.
Yeah.
Now count 2 near publication of false news.
Yeah.
Now those laws, you know, one line. I don't know whether maybe lawyers.
One line.
Yeah, lawyers in him. Supporting supporting a status. Backing but now while we here a court straight to you commit yourself when you publish false news when you and no sir no what do you now like how do you that means you have you have to explain to us what is going on. You have to explain to us what is going on, and for you to explain to us what is going on no, and the police even in the filing in court they've not really explained why this is a crime.
Okay.
For this is outside the politics. So this is now the merit of the matter. Oh, this is now the merit. And if there was really a crime, then why don't you go to Electronic Communication Act?
Okay.
Or to go to the cyber security because or a cyber bully. It can be classified as a cyber bully the judge. You can be say why false information or causing trying to misinform the public about the community because or can say judge na bo CC, say judge no CC you've misinformed. Or can say judge no in judge no bro for ye. Or if you can prove that judge no bro for yeah he's published false news and other things. I don't know why marginal way so then they are not even explaining with the angle that they found with it. And for me that's why a case we are worrying. That's okay. I was like, you politicians would have all seen how hollow this case is in court.
Okay.
But the unnecessary political engagement and other things is muddying the water. And all this while, I brought you on the bed. So. On the bed. So.
Okay.
In all this that is happening, politics, who said the merit of it, Abanya could walk out easily. But all the political making the summer, Abanya na under the bed. So. Lawyer no ko jina ho ne o say okofi o kodi fu anom kwan ada
o yire o ko ne yire ho
na bronya na na ne bed for me that's where the worrying situation is. I was say handle say police say if you cannot explain the issues related to speech then don't come in.
Erica J. Esquire say based on the minority leader public comment and conduct it appears his preliminary concern is to keep Abronye in custody due to Mr. Abronye's support for the DMB during the MPP primaries. If the minority leader genuinely wants a different outcome, he knows appropriate forum and channel not on social media commentary. Legal process requires legal action, not political posturing. Posturing rather.
Posturing, yes.
So it means that So yeah, Babontia be press conference. Yeke be a lawyer, a judge, no, Yeke ya junior, Nenke this our energy no, at the quarter. Ebianka just have brought your house, no so or TB
and they know that. The
so
benefit
can we believe in what Erica J. Esquire can say?
And that's what channel any basis be.
But then no, he doesn't have a mouse in the fight. But maybe I say, but the ultimate point of can say, I brought you them.
Yes,
you can get
this all energy be a channel. Can I say bet me money be?
But then I make an earlier say, but then they found political currency in Abronya being in prison.
Okay.
What I say? Because it could not generate much because I say monkey play by sizes. Adenta kumimo, fancy comedy, no more. The Republic, but Abronya is now this is almost I think last basic demonstration. Because they can say our chairman has been arrested. So as they can say our chairman has been arrested. Oh, she said so even she case no, the kind of case no. Look at this whole case. It's now serving more political capital than even Abronya.
And don't forget, so be also per se or some retaining office.
Exactly.
Or more political.
Exactly. And don't mess with a politician when he's standing for election.
And don't forget what Kojo Ponkroma said, that in any political dispensation, there is someone being used. Yeah. If you turn around and you don't see who is being used, then you are the one being used.
Now you're turning around, who are we using now?
We don't see anybody.
Why end up?
So no.
Why end up? At least Baba Mando couldn't pull a lot of capital.
Yeah.
But then
but
Abronya has pulled a lot of capital.
Okay. Kwame say yeah, okay.
Even with Baba Mando, look at how many days we discussed it. Look at Abronya. Abronya discussed, in fact, because Baba Mando dra on the country.
Fish,
you know.
Abronya buy because now Abronya share.
Yes.
She is doing say that. And in the case in buy your more friend Abona man, any was say
so me I tell you the party is now using Abronya situation to make as much capital as possible. And as they call, I think you become some they call a dean of diplomatic or any other things to make these cases. But I mean, I think that if the party is focused on his freedom, even the delay of the reason, I'm saying, because one of the delay in the release of a year back of file appeal, no. But then that I don't think that's the only remedy. Mekai, but the way example, Mekai can Japan can then the comment be during the election what do. When they granted him bail, I remember Mekai lawyer did the NM, yeah. But lawyer said no, we are not leaving the courtroom because Umane caught them pay. All of a sudden the police will become slow.
And your friend also may become not them. No, that's
granted the bail. So what you do is that obviously omijina court. And they will make sure that the register doesn't close. So the register doesn't close, or the pressure better and they did it that day now, Manukofi. So that means that there's several ways that you can get Abronya out if the focus is to get Abronya out. There are several ways to get
do you see say that's not their focus?
No, so I mean I think that him being in there is more political currency than him being out. Yes. Because it furthers
ye nipa aye ne nyina wa amanyuko baako ono kwa na ye chairman e wo region baako ye say ono nam na ye mfa ngina so mobilize ye party na asay no
sacrificial lamb.
Because you have to mobilize around something.
Na do e kwa na
party for no mo call party na mo ko di poison na nya party ma de kora no mo say na party baako nipa ana na party from before fra
na party for back na
party baakum defunu krom ma no mo asan poison o mo homa bi mu ye
so the reason why it works me say right now based on what are you mobilizing, like there's no real scandal that you can use to do actual mobilization, say, you know. Scandal yes. Your mama like there's no real scandal now. Yeah, there's no real scandal now. There's no cocoa. They mobilized, they've made most political capital from the cocoa. What is the next one? What is the next one for you to now? We are being persecuted. Okay. All the parties, okay, friends said Sami did demonstration against arbitrary arrest and stuff like that. For persecution, it's one of the easiest ways to mobilize your your people. Because we tifia the communications are now cast my becho. Into tifia demonstration about hey, there are political people, usually the floating voters, but there are political people they never want to vote for the losing candidate. And if they don't see you mobilizing in large numbers, they also go by the narrative say party na go. But right now, if they are mobilizing, hey, say they be innocent people in go or any from and be them who masala that part no so boa.
Okay.
I mean, Abronya being in cell is a small price to pay for achieving that, and I'm sure that it's a part of that. And I'm sure here or more like it all feeds to something like that, and it's now got into a big one. And it also indicates that it's now getting higher and higher. To see, and more and more so no man kasakesia bemo because I free. Adenta money TikTok one about regional chairman. If you are national chairman, no, because national chairman, because national officers.
Okay.
Say about constituency, Baba man in the post there is
constituency
executive, regional executive. The next is national officers. So you have to start also protecting yourself and making sure that because. And found how brave you are. No arrest will humble you. What your mom maka BNI detention? Asem, what your maka arrest will humble you. You don't want to go through it. Okay. Okay.
Kwame, Criminal and Offences Act na under Section 207 at 29 or say a person who uses threatening, abusive or insulting words or behavior in a public place with the intent to provoke a breach of peace is guilty of a misdemeanor, which is also a crime. And or amount location say be a public place or in a meeting, and likelihood ni intent say be obinya adrenum poa. But then you see when you see under section 22 of that same act, no, or see if there is a likelihood that a person will commit a breach of peace. A district magistrate can order them to execute a bond with sureties to maintain peace and good behavior. So in the case of Abronye,
no dear infa. Bond no best sign for good behavior, no dear emfa.
No, but there's jail time. Breach of peace in the jail time.
Jail time, you get it. But me say on the side of the police, and then the magistrate. I just want to draw attention to why it was unnecessary to remand him.
Okay.
What am I say? That court no am a reason say be a jano mane kwa. Obekwa more because na no kwa more. So to make your case sweeter and better. Yemfa ne say be a misdemeanor yi na ye jana so de na court no. Nka yem bail no ne man sign bond. Bail bond.
That is why I'm saying say.
No, say bail bond no. You are assuring say okwa. No. The condition better.
Bond is different from bail bond.
Yeah.
No,
bail bond is different from
there
bond.
There is a bond, but they say the party is called
so,
bond. So you attach the bond.
So is on sign bond. No, Uncle put up a good behavior.
I get it. I get it.
And you know, say,
bail now. You can that bond no attach it. That's what I mean. Non sign. So and to see a bad case in a real no.
Over charge sheet in this one. You say now no Black Mary and a chain and any account Masem. Or call ye no cry no was I'm for into where they bond no cry any juma for good behavior.
You will not say your cost of jail.
No, not far from that. But now person here your man sign bond so to put up a good behavior. And I'm saying no they on yet.
One say when you war as a court, war responsibility, and then you don't assume. Let's do our part. Say, Emrana say. Say yesusu say mpo yesusu onye ye kra ni yesusu say onyobe ya ye man sign bond na nkofo mienu abedi adanse say ye behwe say jo ti hai sa suban we ya emma nkrofo asum de to nsuom no onko ye biem ni ama na sign wo court no emra no responsibility or the amount no ye na ye nhwe. So no anya ne part no of putting up behavior, it becomes a reference. Say, look, so when you say the embassy, then you make a reference. Say, mrana chire say enya ni say yeah abronye ko ye kra no ko ye west nti eno be say why you wa form die so that nobody
eno na mugina
no offenses nyina ye nye that part
barama sa asem no so no ne wo kan so no mugina ya omo se ye mfa ni nkoshem for 2 weeks no that is what eno similar charges any the born the Black Maria no ko chi na ne kan wasemi the same thing na no wasen ya wa attack judge so it means sa ho no de omu ni se uja no ko be se wa ko ye biem san de asan wo fra ba
na mimi bisa se mra ne ka den mra ne se uja no ye biem a ye mfa no ko reminder na is that what the law
it means say ye ne sare ya ma won kasa bi ye prosecute or whatever say de be ko bia ko wie ne say wie na aba na san be kan bia ne san ba be twen asan de wa be ma
enti sa na mra ne kan na
no so here's another thing. You know, the minority, the defense argued that umani bill kasa, umani bill because unko kasa. That means that it's indicating that umani bill a man in kasa, which is against his
freedom of speech.
But someone kasa mo on kasa.
No,
but
the same thing. It's a matter of speech.
You see,
it won't say we no
say speech.
I want something else.
No, speech is speech. But then the content was speech. No, na ye can want some see. So can't be some na say nipa don't make so kasa. But mrana chira say at the chrono be ya be man na ye bone no. Mo onye nti obetima kwotana na Saudi out de a bond be ato no so say ukoi and to say be di asem na we nko nua TV be pese be eno de what temper with the human rights.
Eno ye eno no they are okay. I believe say ye ono no abronye lawyers and the betimi aka acha abronye say case wey because
no you didn't get my say in a part whereby a lawyer no a judge no be can say ukoi nkotena onua TV nkasa be no de what temper with the freedom. Okay. And no na momo kasa matter of so no dey say no dey human right untimi kan say mo nkasa but mran say asem na obeka na eye crime and say tietie nipa fa hodie ho no and ye caution ne say mo nkoka bi no dey say wonsi ni kwan kasa nti abronye ye man be obetima akotana na onua TV aye ni show ohia TV aye ni show but on make sure say content na why ya chino no on repeat it
and no abroad lawyers ne betimi aka sa akira abroad
you know 10th
but remand na the man no
10th September 2025 abroad caged in Black Maria where he was Abronya was arrested on Monday after honoring invitation by the police following some controversial allegations he made against the IGP Christian and acting executive director of Yoko Remonacha. His hope of going home were on a pretrial bail were dashed by the courts, presided over by Honorable Samuel Bright Aqua, who remanded him to police custody to allow the police to take some time to conduct further investigation into the matter.
Okay.
Abronya has been charged. We are 2025. Okay. Abronya has been charged with one count of publishing false news and another count of offensive conduct conducive to breaches of the peace.
Public. The same charges. The same charges. And he has had the abono the okache lawyer. The same charges. Ama. The same charges.
The same no kasaranti.
The same charges.
What I assume that the judge was trying to do is that a same way or case pen case ko yankan Black man case yankan. And he has.
You don't use black men here, but the case again on me.
Yes. Me, I get all that you are saying. You see, I say.
There's no money.
Only no. Some rana actually they was say only obi ya there. Media, I believe in play your part. Okay. In this case, you are bounded by law to exercise your. The question is all these years, Emrano. Share de my see and find yet abronya have you yes I share na manana say we your kwaya bim and run say yan caution no see ma adanse for mrem
yes
nti say kana no oye Black Maria yi na okoye and was akoye bie chi no was akoye the same thing they say crowd or the back court for so now say the police
this is what about judge
force nka ye chi ni yama ni bail you say adika ma ni bail ama ni ko we okoye no so ba ya me chi na ko be say akonu ohia TV asen akoto aso enti aden na court no enye de mra na ka se onye bra ye ne ma ni nye na dance for nka nei ye de ne ko remand court ni ruling no de enti o say ma no ko remand no wa kire mo say na no a oye say ye question no ye mane de nsa shekrata as the law states say monko ye biem okoye e basa cases in pale at bia so ntimi fa mehim this oye ni different case enti say be ye man sem because uye ya just osan ko fa case we obe we still court no time yinti no e de ni kwa kosie anto say e be di asem ye wie no ye no sa nka mo ntimi e press conference
and I agree with you
get it
but to the sense no na se sia no omo so police for no omo de ne call
police for the for Masemtvgh no crowd omo
so eno so no omo so gina ya ama judge no so gitum no say sa de a sa nipa no first ni case wo ho ya against Christian Tete Yehono the IGP ene Roman Achade no eno no ye ja no man ko no akwakoye west sa de ne ye man nko tena bie na for kukum entwen ko jisi ebedi asan be wenya sa okwa obesa kwa repeating the same thing sana case na wako yo me I don't agree with say ye na akwa twinimi de nanso upe de omo kana nka ye betimi aka say nka bia abronye lawyers ene be ka cha abronye say with the case nsem bi eti say no men ka bi ko si say
omo nye
enti unye sa de na mean say judge no nso so hu say wan hwa obetimi ube man sam aye bebere e wo ha let's see chama wuntumi since an asem call court ye di na asem na anu ade e bia be kan what is that chama wuntumi kasa to say ababon so ye ne campaign on any party members one so why first na obegi kan
and no na e tell say abronye die we e calculated agenda you get the point you see ori abronye nsem o kan ya na say utie
by who calculated agenda
by NPP as a party
say ye nshada nchi abronye
is a calculated agenda for a mission. So utie abronye nsema wakeka na utie minority leader na nsema all kafa judge no you can deduce some of the things that abronye said from his speech no.
Okay,
it tells you that this thing was planned and you don't create room for people to accomplish their mission. Chabahun to me case ono abronye anu e yasin chabahun to me sa abronye de ono otiatiamu chabahun to me say no ono de o sheda kukura asem to so
wuntumi de ontumi mo wa akra wa na asem no ni lawyer no crime man crime dey appear could be lawyer o
mo no se mo ko bompa ye man
you know some paya memo
enti mo chi abronye 100 times obesi akoye 100 times because it's an agenda.
Okay,
enti
so the agenda is abronye not the MPP party ana
agenda
me na me say
no the agenda party has set an agenda and abronye is the front for the forwarder.
Okay,
because
sana wu hu no
from me
okay.
I feel say now we want to win sympathy.
Okay,
I mean we have records of that. Oh yeah, elections sympathy votes, it works.
Okay,
it really works.
Okay,
and I say on say they have yawaha and secretary I catch say wakọ visit abronye abronye is resolute ne ho ye say and the lawyers on the other side I say abronye health deteriorate me boa kojo upon on the other side so no na ye abronye lawyer okoye o mama ne access.
Okay,
Kwame ye fa common sense into her Ghana mrama kwan say ye chewa the only person you have access to a lawyer.
Okay,
Ntina party secretary ebe koso akwa obi a ya chi na obi na ni ama no kwan ama na ko hu no na ni lawyer onu gina sem no ba o se ma ya ama me kwan ama man ko hwe abronye wo de to aso. So all angles it's just towards winning sympathy.
Okay,
Enti mo man attention party no you see politicians they have their way of doing things.
Okay,
they have political agendas until they are calculating it well. Until who judge or police in Alabama, they will use you to win this agenda.
Okay, so the agenda bem dia yen hwe how anko for ekasa e wo ye man mu ade so oba opposition dia wano ye den oba aban mu a na wano aye mere one abronye wa aban mu kra no ene chama wuntumi no ye hwe omo otrances ne nsam omo ka na omo aba opposition yemfa wuntumi nto nche because say wuntumi there because of say you know we near the clock it ntino no nkasa bi because say ono no okasa pass ma to no baby onenam no na asem no ho etoro ntino ye mane nka bi ba abronye na baby onam no otimi kasa yenhwe a chairman of a political party type of language you use how or any communication unim say to da bi a me ko hwe ne videos ni bi ne nsan ni bi ho ka aya na me side with him but the way no canon no and eduru baby etimi di asem so ebra na e ma ne benya asem no ye hwe ni say is that saying na say de bia ye no say de bia obi abeka asem na yakwa akwache no obi beka say wo ye den a day in day out they will talk about it ye hwe mra na omugina so omutimi de ekwache no say mra na ne say yes achirem say de be ya so obi ko kan say ne bia police fo nya kwanya ntimi gongoche no emfa ne mfa mu say de ne fa mu ana say police for na say lawyers and the judges no na apply emra ni yi joy can certain views say yan sisa mra no ti say dia nsamo a something lad ya yen ne de betu gas at least we should say yes sisa mra nim kakra say ne be ye betimi aboa na mra no ya sisa mu dia sisa mu dia betimi aboa ma nsan ni bi wo ha nipa ne kan e me ye yo said
yeah, I think we need to really look at the bail law. Right now, we are relying on precedents. Martin Pebu, landmark case. That's what everyone is relying on. There's no clear. In fact, this matter started from the election petition to 2012.
Okay.
2013-2012. A free honor. And I okay, Afoko. Gregory, Afoko, and then several other things. There's no real guidance as to how to bail and stuff. I bear discretionary.
Okay.
In fact, a buyer banansia yoko near I bear discretionary. Now, I bear discretionary. That means a judge, or only yansam, and now Odebe decide they say yama bail and I may bail. There's no. We need proper guidance on bail, and you're bailing even on contempt. Proper guidance. Because ultimately you say manya contempt against you. Na me frɛ na me amanim. That means me complain and me say judge in my own case. And since that's not proper justice. I mean, lawyer said that's not if it's a proper way of administrating justice. Say why makasati say bia that's not if it's a proper way of administrating justice. Say why makasati say bia lofty makasati na masa ba wanim wo show no so na wona about it's all up to the discretion of the judge. What I say? Okay, Yoko Tokwano. Yoko ne MPP, former MP appointees in Tokwano. Also, Yoko say, Debbie, Obuawa, what do 1 billion? Now the bill 5,000. Say 5,000 there. Bet much yama. It's also a big and enough amount, and that was the argument Yoko made. And you cannot just say, oh, minimum Bishawa unyat 500,000, 500,000 also. It's what happened to me first time. Omoko around now later it has to take a big party people to come in to get that thing, and a lot of people couldn't. Okay. First, Owari also. Owari was in jail after bail for almost 2 weeks after granting the bail because he couldn't get the money to grant the bail. I think that Osasi so similar thing, and it was all because and all the arguments and they didn't mention any statute. And as a law, and as anything that guides bail. We need to really reform that part of the law. Say bail, no, say near. It's just like the penalty. You know, there's a penalty statute. Your penalty points, the value of the penalty point, crime. I was here the penalty, also on your penalty in the door, and those things. And we should do similar thing for bail and contempt, especially. Because I said, well, it's me too now. In fact, I brought in your lawyer until you. Oh yeah. Politician,
but a lot of people.
Foko was in jail after bail for almost 8 years. For almost 8 years, there are people who are on remand. And they've been on remand for 20 years. Oh, but that's what remand. Remand for 20 years. That's what remand. How do we make the law to save everyone so that obi or say obi so you free or no you free me like say any politician
you free or no because who say you free or no I don't know
good like it's something like that because they say now a scaffolding way they get friends. They get friends to back them. No money. Now, when they miss way. And these things, when they better not at all. That's at all. How do you how do you get out without any proper statute? That's a second person you do tumcha. So for me, I think that we should have a proper law governing bail and then contempt.
Okay. Already something like the INN Edinburgh 2 Ghana. Or did you say so? Share the abuse in practice for section 208. You know, about the most abuse speech related provisions are what Ghana a criminal law. No, and also so here in some of my confirm the use of section 208 ni 207 offensive conduct conducive for breach of peace, and a yard the for use super and you want to say now a publication of false news contrary to the section 208 clause 1 of the criminal code now or say this offense related to the publication of circulated on false information likely to cause fear, panic and disturb public peace and order. Under section Ghana criminal code, a person may be held reliable if knowingly publish or reproduce false news that can mislead the public or threaten their national stability. Don't you think, say, public false information, any so be and then some more kind of bet me cause of fear and panic in those kind of man. Ebianka, yen free criminal code num. Ni am family be for send be at least. Enko ba say no na police for ni ababa to. So this is enka no nka ho a. Criminal code bi anka ho a. Sanka we dey police in kan dia nearby for say ye chi abro nya ye gidigidi say ko chine those kan kasa na mani bi anim kasa de ye frɛ baba amando e de ne free krom ade ne call enkran no nka no bi anim because enya criminal we offense I think say answer trainer na me pass short na membra ama.
I think it's a valid point we are making is the police is able to run to it because it's a criminal
there's a criminal code
and because the police deals with criminality
yes
I think earlier you make it just a man can electronic Communication Act.
Into Okoho there, that means no Masem.
But it's criminal now.
And I'm saying
they can draw, so they can omit my reduce it, they'll read it together. Say if you're publishing false news and the disinformation or misinformation, and I say a false news aspect there. But I mean, I think I get your point. Say, in fact, our whole criminal code system has come down because must be looked at because criminal was because of when it was done. There was nothing like a virtual public space for people. And for me, that's what caused like a lot of the issues. For me, I think yes, I agree with you 100% that we should really look back at the criminal code and.
Kwame, you see, yema your conscience and guide you in all our endeavors. Central my ye. Say be mo court. If you want a you cry your bono. Me one promise I made myself and I say in my now the adman press cassette the money I say me akoboro me aka ho. I will do
obey news but woman
of silence abani there. I don't agree.
Okay.
No crepa and say on my Ghana a free speech country but because the kind of things people say no. So what you
Cote d'Ivoire, you can't
do that. You dare not.
Cote d'Ivoire. You
who there is so be
who dare you
business to a certain level. Now we say and so no they abede no wo akoto sachet water blade them. Now we hear chiwa we see freedom of day.
Say I can't
you know what it takes to build a brand. Kwame obi shada bi wo nipa bi a wotimi hu se nipa we wo hia no one on one a ontimi kasa wanim. Good morning krontimi nka bi nchiro. No wa so camera see nanim. No the what triumpium.
What can I do now?
I'm a fresh lofty brand. No? How many years, how many sacrifices have you made to maintain that brand to get here? Now, Obia to data one CD.
No,
or in the name of social media, no, I create one TV, not internet and so. No, kukuru. I be kura on share on a life. Now, your chiwa, what's the day? Can I, in fact, yani yakasa hueduma. And if there are any people to fight for whatever culture of silence whatsoever, okay, sense some draw for near because any kasa. Yeah. And let's be honest to ourselves. So what the all our neighboring countries settle and near Ghana your country I can't pakasa bwashe. Nkankrophobia any di wokroma. Nkrophobia dwuma mo ye wokroma and so motanish nkrofo image. E dey nya followers. Enti oman mra wom. Say won pese obi betieti afa ahudie so also nti obi fa ahudie so because who have freedom am so me freedom
yeah
you don't hurt people emotionally ura fi se nipa no wo yere wo ma wo kunu kwabrani timi kukuro babasia to TV so no sopano na ye chiwa eye Ghana ha na ye so flexible but go elsewhere. Anna Kevin tell amotete abrocho omudi ata omuni abrofo na tem.
You see US udi Donald Trump atema wan hwa.
Try it.
What Ghana na di Donald Trump atema.
Won
kwa abrochiri.
So
say wo Facebook a men hide no manenye public. So mbetimi aye hwemu afa de wo ye ho.
Kwame, see anya ne say we can't sanitize the system. Some of the things they are so you are not supposed to say this. Kwame, say Ghana ni akora brante anaba ye betimi anya kokodro na a certain president no di natem. Or hene nampo uni manners kra Kwame ade ba ko ababu na brante eni kwansa wo ye ne so obi a o chen wo
obedi natem
obi a obro so. Don't do that. Enti yebeye de yes police for ne hide under a crime aspect a woman criminal code no e dey ayeniema yes ye hide behind freedom of speech this hunu pardon me but niema ni be o entaso mu ade enti na obi I mean me na me pemata ade na mahye it's none of your business and your business but ye VGM I heard the course of social media
ye dey go for beto horo mu so munim dressing ye then they
enti ye da to ya adwunu say Ghana ha no pese wo ye politics a this a wo ye wa adwunu say wo no wa bo mi mfita duku because atem de ye bedi ubi should it be so no enti emra wo kroma say Ghana ni bia obi no matter ni pan politician or dey you brand it takes time sacrifices are why ye to build me I am not a year obi tna ayi baby na oka niema bi na tanhye wo image afa ne famra kwan so emra wo kroma say
na ade ne mra kwan ne so kura na ama say be ye yatam ko be di be wie no so kura ya asam
na no gift auntie gift you say odi agrada ko agara se wase akopa chokura akopata no we assume say Ghana mra nya adwuma ene ye niema frote but emra wo kroma unless we test nti instead senka mena ye de ade na di mefa mra kwam se Ghana crowd ko enkosi hwe sa assumption na wo yetima na nkrofo take advantage of that eno mudi nse mu okroma it's not the best
okay
untimi obi o de hwe ayi sa incident ye see ya me can say me pa me ne ayi in fact na I was expecting say gender e be take the matter who dey imagine say akra ba ya ye di ni baba ako na ne papa chu akra ne choose so be politics or they say side or they say
I don't remember anything.
What I say akra no onya politician and na nyon no choose yes a politician me wo no na wo to meet na se Kwame ehwe nyankopon ata soro ho anim ehwe se wo wo mama na wo say akra no no na fe na obo ne bra akra onim ne da ache ono so be kwa aware no ne papa ne nada anyinse no ama ye de na basunya ha say hospital abo hospital ni din abaye na abortion na sa asem wo ye chewa wo se dey maso TikTok asiso kan asem we wo freedom ni so betumi akasa wakasa we but have you talked the long term consequences of sa asem na wo kan wa akra ne life enti mimiti am agenda minister sada na mechew ye mamra nya adwuma na system no ye sanita nya ye nko aye kuroma na Kwame use social media ade na de abrofo no de social media ne ye ne different from there
TikTok ni o yeah
what I say Kwame wo de relumba asem ye bai en krofo se bia ware kro mo ntimi manage mabasi aye kunum agya omo mabasi amema de omo akwa burochira omo mo brenti omo ko gya mema na omo ba boy basa na ye kukuro bi family matter e de betna TikTok en na ye kasai lumba ma no you see ye kwa aware a emma na ye kone ye sacrifice o enkura no na ye family no in case you don't know omo papa wu bapanyi no wom na decide so obeka ni nuanu nyina obom no papa legacy omo protect mo ma na mo ba aware dem papa ya na oba bi so nkofo anya kokodo no so TikTok asi so na ye kokoro bi abusu asem obi ba onu fi say papa wo ma nkura na ye ni nua obeso o protect ni papa legacy not social media no din se hunu na o man na ye di.
So on the session say me can say kayan sa kira mranim na ye nyi criminal course na say obi ko kan asem ne yesi force ne publication you know enye na ne nsem na o kan betimi akwaso fear and panic nke no yenyi free criminal cause mu se na be ya police fo enya kwanya nka so mo so take down matter na dia kwachi obi e na kokko na nke na baba ye say de ne ye kan first no na ba ye judge whosoever ya kan wa asem wona betimi afa asem no e dia kokko say nipa na defame you
Kwame me de me two way say
ka
me nko
mra ne yenja ne sa
na ho because me amma me two way kunya me nche me da ya bon sentwofo bi o kra na sometimes you create me for phone free your colleagues bi mo e call you to
said they work in you
they work can assemble what you say enti mra ne da ne ba bi una we decide say obema crime about asemu but enti untimi nkan asem abra wuni di atama na wunye bibia ebe cause problem ama wana na ye loss no so ye be na ye adwuma mo ma ye target certain category of people bi nko a I had to say Ghana had the only timer emra ye adwuma ye time a politician are offended. That shouldn't be the case.
Okay.
Say the mrani ye adwuma ye man kati across because a lot of things say cost wo internet no so any politician ya edin. What I say?
Okay.
Say ye ne sa na ye central a ochena say me kwako obi asem na de ye me ochena de ye politician ni say Ghana mrani say netie. But akoba say as a corruption cases eye abamu penifo nkwa na da bia ye target omo ye target nkrofo a omo wo institutions a technocrat ni ade nti enu nti na ma eye problematic but say ye mamra ni ye adwuma on a common ground say we ye ayo we ye hwan yo we nya diwa adu Ghana mra say nete nka be hu na police for obi ye TikTok live anaka ya track ya na akoche no ne ade na gina mra ni because eye public space and wo ye udi sa nkomo we ya ye feel say portion we ebe pra nkrofo a eba ne sa chena de ya abronya obi ankasa but abronya ya waka obi foforo ya wo nka de a ene ebe pro nti samra no mu yi firi wa Kwame mo da mbati mo so mo kuruma
say o sha MPP amanyuko no o pesa o make comment bi
you regulate it. I think say in Ghana hankwana am for make statements on internet so
yes eno de I think say US kwa na topics are we UK okay
for 2023 UK nipa 12,183
any echi
omo for comments they made on online Belarus 6,000 Germany 3,500 China 1,500 Turkey 500 Russia about 400 Poland about 300 Thailand about 258 Brazil about 200 Syria about 146 India about 100 Iran about 100 France about 54 and the US about 50.
We are so far no kran US kran 50.
Yeah, 50.
Ghana the
yes. So you can imagine that you know the internet is now it is the last time on Ali Maga disagrees. Right now the internet is part and parcel of our society. Part and parcel. If it's part and parcel, then you cannot just be making statement there things say oh TikTok oh okay you know Facebook post no making you it's not and yet like it does not excuse you in any way. So I think that we should also be careful. But then also, so me, I agree with Nanama in a lot of ways. But we said there's an aspect of the law which is discretionary. The entire was here pushy for say you benya director in say portion of the law near discretionary. Say no tihono on the bed decide say money and money.
That is the
problem. Me can you.
Yeah.
But who go boy?
What the bar? Who go boy? Who bet me? Who go na da hono me nya dia bo.
Who go boy? Say o maybe nka mo bia say ba enam say wanum kasa na adidi die o kasa ya obete yes asma okay na cause fear and panic afi na hu nia
ma yen hwe the impact as say the minority no etimi akuchire abronya asemi na de egu krata so de akwakoma diplomatic coordination no say omonhwe say na be ya betimi yi abronye eno na animu ye ba beti say yes abronye ne lawyers ne say ochena on file or high court said be ya on betimi review ni be condition the impact in be saying
oh me I think say you know even those who watch press freedom they ranking freedom ni ranking they look at evidence they don't just use the like they don't just use the headlines.
Okay.
They look at the merits of the matter and the other things. Yes, part of this case is very problematic. I was say people should be able to express themselves and the other things. But me, the other part now, the diplomatic, petition. This is the second time the minority has presented a petition to a diplomatic corps. Okay, but what is in Syria or for ambassador and dean of the listen. And this one, this currently is Morocco.
Yeah.
Now Morocco. Morocco
woman no nobody think
because freedom of speech no ranking almost Morocco is difficult. It's a difficult situation. Is it like why Morocco's constitution guarantee freedom of speech? The government maintains strict limits on criticizing specific national and religious red lines. Authorities increasingly use penal code to prosecute activists and journalists, ostensibly prohibited.
Morocco.
Okay. So say so on the now they are what effect. But I like a certain part of the petition. No, because they should monitor press. They monitor their time and monitor because I'm saying this because in the Bono FM, Ali Magagas also power made this. It is a monitor. They should monitor going forward, and then we do because in the end,
do you know, Senna? Is it UK? Ambassador Benjamin.
Yes.
Or not Benjamin. No Bagana, no Canada, no Ghana, no Canada on the assembly of Becky. As someone can say, I brought your case, can be.
Yes, but Oko Mexico then to send the Kazaka on Pam. Mexico bank and say on sorry free or no. Speech is a very delicate thing. And I think that even in as much as freedom of speech here, can you freedom of speech and can't hear?
Yes.
No crap, can you freedom of speech and can't hear? It will be an amount for person Casa pass, no Muntimin Casa. Now, a be ni Casa Kesha more for Muntiminka. But I think that so it's a privilege that we've had it. And then I will see a use. I think it's over the limitation clause, Article 164 now. The limitation that they say, oh, freedom of speech, but it's not absolute. Also will take care of. Also will take care of national security, national coherence, all those things before Obeka. And I think that's where I was here. Like I was here to make sure now you're taking the for me. Yes, the petition is optics. But real because the last time now Muchichi went to Memoir or Moko presented all of a sudden now they're going to present this on BCBM. So I think that we should and again I think that kind of behavior is largely problematic. I don't know why my mentor or my for be on me, yes, I don't know. Say BBI I know if paper you reporter. You can report to the massa.
Now, more you can report to more. Anything that means that impact in the building.
What is the impact? And say you can report to my IMF. You can report to my US. You can report to my UN. Now you're doing what? Like what impact? Me who?
Some go for a report to more. Impact in the building.
Exactly the point I mean making.
Obey day.
Obey
day. Ghana for Kwame.
Yeah. I mean, maybe diplomatic pressure and stuff like that. But I mean, we are a matured country narratives. Okay, some of the books about the 2000 elections now. BBS near the British government. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're secure, like you're reaching a point that it's really and one other thing. We should have legal remedies for things instead of running to tell Akorabia holding internship now the letter command on your day. I mean,
diplomatic corps for they cut out common. And so we so so and so my.
Kwame, you know, Casa, so much, wow. Agenda Nina said, you could say we did actually or more possibly intend of giving out some
support, okay.
Because you pay a letter command, you couldn't cry a kingdom, boy. Until you no until freedom of speech. Nikuro mo bin kama bin kabima bin kabi ni ho ono mu dia konya nti wo dia wo kan ho wanim sa say wo sha chana ni na wo ka twi na ho wanim sa so and nti na it takes me back to me opinion say this is a calculated attempt to one make government unpopular, two to drag attention from whatever might be happening there because this whole thing has taken the IMF thing out. Krahama a real craft is say we've made a milestone. Enti I think say politics has gone beyond this.
Okay.
I mean, if indeed you per se party near strong, na Ghana for GD say I am ready. See a better Maya way and Tottenham.
Okay.
Abroad Morocco. Say diplomat. On by the country.
Mudino, way Dino.
Ambassador. Say no. I'm going to let no coin. No, I can't. Wa friend Abraham say. You make say intentional say be our agenda be a push here. Have you tried any efforts?
Okay.
Don't try process be to get the person out in a denial. Then you have a case say as a legal system no I want to go some person because you are entitled to this. Making move maybe they request a copy of Supreme Court and I say judge in ruling no maybe I overturn yenti kromayana judge be ruling was some tamala ya dey call your move overturning enti so what
baba mando dey answer class you
enti why is Abronye case different? And then some of us we have a lot of perceptions some of them we can't just say it here but it's funny that yachi baba mando no say no so na e bail say you took a step and it was granted. Why is it that you didn't take the same step for Abronye but then you decided to make noise to win public sympathy? Was that the agenda? Diplomatic for no monje no monye no mu say abawe onye ni papa panti emfa mo bi akwamre no. Is that what you want to achieve? We are just asking. But this letter necessary. Use the due process. Emrano de sheshaya was a way efaso. Court to asem Kwame. Usun koto moja. Ye de mraneka. Enti ade na mu nyina mu ya lawyer for and you know it. Na mon family kwan so now you decide to do press conference. Then no the Ghana for there na be ye. Chama won to me dey amoko tena form. Some bre na mu kofie kodai. Judge no crowd be for back door akofie. Akoda. Obi amfa because at the end of the day you first sentiment. And take a decision or court. I am running.
My last question, I the baby show no. Said the brand ya be and say, since Kwame na Fenya marking minority leader or certain majority leader, you be or is you be minority leader. Do you think say or boy and people amanyuku?
So this is we are very subjective question. Well, I think that there's you know, obviously what I could do and where in America.
Okay.
I think anything over to Makabiafa or about Fenya market or Sahine. But the back was wouldn't me money me.
Okay.
There's one thing I wouldn't money me.
Because I like somebody was comparing him to or say Chairman Sambunsi.
No. I think that he's a lot less like a lot less technical than Osechi Mensa.
Okay.
Osechi Mensa will coin beer or coin beer of us or he's a bit more diplomatic.
Okay.
Maybe Afenyomaki is diplomatic in the ways I him, but in front of people all the time. Or you have to be heard. Also, Masem. Also, some person make there America. And as a program, a big program.
So a broken party. It's such leader now. Because this are not here public sympathy. We young for Ghana for your sympathy.
Yeah, but when you say a broken, we first have to appeal to the base. Also appeal to the base. I say appeal to the wider audience.
Okay.
This is you know, while you are appealing to the base. Okay, the webinar there was no one who could talk for the MPP. So Afenyomaki's role was to give people a glimmer of hope.
Okay.
Sa Kasa, you know, like Kasa, you know, it helped.
Okay.
It helped a bit for some of the party people. Now for outsiders who are looking at the party for attraction, maybe it doesn't work. But say for some of the party people who wanted someone in the party to point to or someone in the party to model their
but over to us, mama make an announcement surely na me emrana yentoa so. Ghana Police Service and then you more share definitely meaning say more here and so that. You say accident be asi e man kran so na yes Ghana Police Service be ko na o matimi akwakoboa. It's answer the ekoso ho no as emwa nti ehia say Ghana Police Service monko mankran so accident bi esi okwan nim ho ba bia mbetimi akọboa mo nkọboa na niema entimi ento ne kwan so se na e be yankofo betimi nya car no omo cars betimi atwam akọ ba bia eso mokọ yesre e wo mankan so wa Ghana police service mo te yenka se de nim sa no mmere mo hwe yi de da because ya kan se ma ehia kan baba nti ye kan papa de mo nkọ na mo ntimi enkoboa to asoma.
Yeah, so maybe I can say so. I think that for me that part of the party, that going for there are excesses.
Okay.
For me, I think that sometimes the excesses, but every time they've arrested anyone, he's been there, he's been providing advice. We all say, oh, but today, and you want the party na same but in some more power until like that kind of thing. A boy to a particular constituency of the party.
Okay.
They are always the fanatics and the base. And so now and movement from Okono, but the base of the party, the core of the party, they say we are who appeal to them, who appeal to whom we are, and so what by appeal to the elites and other things. And on Monday, I think that Fenyomake has done pretty well in Parliament. I think that some of the antics, we are beaten. No, I make Oma we beating, not just with the numbers. Beating because or Russia, some or Russia say too enthusiastic. Maybe he doesn't know how to balance the two, or maybe it's part of his strategy. We don't know, but I think that he appealed to a certain constituency. Some of the same constituency now Abronya appeal to the same constituency now the hard talkers. Go for a party. But it do be it works, it do be it doesn't work.
Okay. Ama meet you say afeno mark in leadership no eboa MPP amanyoku no.
Kwame. Says ya MPP we there. Leadership ni nyina mo MPP amanyoku no.
Parliament leadership na me can you as a minority
leader. Party
leader.
na kasakra leadership no mo party no. And I'm hoping say in the coming days they will change the front bench.
Okay.
In Parliament.
Okay.
Seriously, Kwame. Panyini wahu. Ya do be panyina. The key one are there number 1 pedi campaign discipline. Kwame o ka sa ahemfo mu nyakwa mu ni di atem.
Ni mo hini bi o nya atem obedi no.
But untimi nya
madam fu hini bi. No atem bi di pa no.
What you say because baby awakọ tena no. Akwa etro. But say panyini ya to aba ni wie no say na me kan say papa no he might be going through some ibi a say yeboa no because enye obi a netimi take defeat on a lighter note.
Okay. And say defeat the
but na me kan ya to aba wie no
acham yakọ buy election
as na me feel say defeat hangover but say yakọ animu no he's a chief so nsem bi wo ho a nsem bi wo ho a yeti see nya sama ye beka pa o antem bu ayi fran ntoma ba bia MPP gina sisi Kwame ti said the era Joe na say echi and can say MPP needs a leader like Chairman James.
That's the Joe Wise na cancer.
You need a leader. They need a leader.
But now they have a leader which is
Kwame.
Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Buhari is the leader of MPP party now.
Nti wo dem bisa wo unso when you kakra
nya kakra mpu manyi
fiti say when you beto hoi ko 4 time MPP and na MPP ya ewomi and na do MPP wow who feel listen
na me me bisa questions nti u bisa ma ntumi ma wanza
oh
say
we dey nkomo ni ye dia
nkomo ni ye di
me ba cho
say o pese o chese ko 4 party no
ko 4 MPP no
na say so
and na do MPP and ba omi time MPP ya wo hoi wow
nkampe ko 4 MPP no chen na na do de no
dentia
o say
dentia
mpanifo na no mu di pet what's over him tabi I'm not going to say anything because okay those days now the MPP class of people within the MPP in how are no communicate and some are no can how are no your present your money matim say na a class of people unya class of MPP na say we are learned adwene mu da ho kama but na na do MPP no ene na Alhaji Buhari MPP no as I hear something else.
You see, and mpon kan say
ma kan say ho susu ma
da bi say me na ma bisa kwa tiefo be hu say me na ma bisa Kwame you see nka time pa na was nka MPP ye rough pa ye time no me de ko forever because we were just moving from a military leader Rollins at the military rule and was about ebedi mampanyini and the candidate to be co facing. And this time now and come here ruffle. Says that time no mutimi win election. Kwame Charles a crack win election.
Okay.
Those days it was beautiful. That uti radio home Rollins and Namfa uti mampanyiko for the voice alone, the caliber of people and some more communicate your message. Because that time no, not Rollins. Yera Rollins, aye nema bebre. Wabedi mampanyini. Soja mamu wa shesha man to some extent. Wabedi mampanyini wa ye akwan to wa niema to boast of. MPP na fe na mo so mo pesa mo ba bem. Nti wunye project bia.
Yeah.
They all wire message. But they were able to communicate that message for Ghanaians to buy into the message. They didn't have resources. Because mind you, that time na mampanyini Rollins, no mampanyini. Our mind no the resources ye den. Yes. And what's your project to our advantage? But MPP at the time for capitalize on their message.
Okay.
And how they have branded them, you know, that we are going to give you freedom. When you I exercise can be mamin kabi.
Yeah.
Message in quiet or Ghana for us. And that is what NPP stands for. A year day. Ena nadie sakra me hu ye kra party semba yi se nka mo suma boys mo mo koye yo dede ni ba na mpanimfo na abesoso ano
yeah
no wakuli ade no wakili case ni nyina but we de akra na kodi nkra bone sema ye ka na panyini no kra ade abehse wa hwia ade no kra to agu. So is that how they want to build the party? Nanka yempo adwen se parliament there at least a honorable house. Nti wo de ho no yema wo de party for no kra nye omo skirmishes no nanka as a minority leader there na nipa no kro timi kwotena afom na de mbiem. Okay, the party is gradually becoming unattractive. And we must say the truth. And then I make a obi say the era of yeriji mu hakakra ABS mo Kofi mo ayi akwawe brawe ayi unipa DKM Masem Mahama no e kakra pao but what the message you are communicating nyina obehu se oye wadi dimpanifo atem basa nti yentimi communicate without insulting ana. Is that the brand?
Well, last word na
mpanimfo ya omudi MPP anim say no omo shift MPP atese omo na NDC aswape go first no na NDC yo party obi awudi agora bebo NDC for nkwana omutimi lose election no mo free zongo so aba ayi Newtown rest ha abetwi soloku wo ye be ma ka hwe
ye bebo
sa ni enim omo but omo mi so omo se Masemtvgh to on se mpese MPP as a party wo de mo mfa ne se ya ye ka no kore kire mu ye mpa mo asem ya ye ka se abronye should be called to order ye mpa na asem but ask yourself say fiti mira abronye sha se di atem obunu region mu e dey vote na dey abeka mo dey no every year every election e conform to the extent that abana mo beto no na mo kita 11 seats atem di no say e ma party kwosora nka mo fa 11 man DC ne bunu region and see that
to the sense Sunyan is west
na Doma Central
and these are picking up
me say osaje fo no bodu ana na do ba na abempedasa ye ma oji microphone say nane ma hu say manfo no be MPP because ai mbodwa me frɛ ba abempedasa Doma aba ha no me hu ni say but for the first time mo lose to sit no it tells you say sa ayini nyina no emfa bibia amre mo ema mo lose mo popularity na nne sa atem didie na mo didi na ma mu seat eye mo dia mo oni no mo dia kwache abrantie ne aba nkranketo apart from ye ma mera here nkranketo na ebi Adoma West maya ne mrantie agi seat na firi mpanimfo ensem na sa still mu hu say atem didie win election dia Kwame deliverance here
Draka mamintio.
Yeah, I think say going forward, political operatives, especially the members of the of the opposition, strategy.
Okay.
How be making sure that some of these things does not happen to our members. Also, how do we take much advantage of it? Say, you be deliver message, you know. You can do mobilization by bet me attracting people. That's it.
Yeah, to about this,
even within the particular society, justice strategy. Also, by way of my last words, me bought Arsenal, but so met my English Premiership, into Boma Basso. So my idea, or my brim,
Chelsea and Jenny, will be over me okay. Chelsea for Nigeria and Casamili, Kroma Yankum.
I feel people.
Menamose, right? Menamose. And then you aha near the Jumadi in Abisi Qua, my enda studio 061. Yendana say, or no, and a Yobia, and then you mean so Adomia, where ye so would you camera and Tony Tribuna, your unity will come. Miss Yimi to share more hanging now, be ours, your unity come studio 061. Or more Obasunya, Ufri Zenet Bank na your bang. Abosan kese na cosmetic shop bi wo mu no ha na chi cosmetic shop na chi na studio 061 ewo oba wo be yuti emfa won ba bia wo bia no to nsa frɛ na Barnabas ewo 0599 874 901 0599 874 901 studio 061 ebejo so na wa be yuti etiefo ne ahwefo aha ne di dwumadi ni na ABC anwumre mamenda Same Junior mamenda na se ono enenne nso so de bia ogina fidi na chi a ode ye eba mframa mu cameraman nso so Richmond na Richmond so eba na yima nso so nso we chire ho technician baba nso so ewa ha anwumre mamenda Joakim ase na menda na ma ase di so ase media ne Kwame fresh lofty nyankopon ka ho adom dom ye ochina sports for and so the global sports baba ne ya woda so ne enso aba betena se ne no edi nkono nyame nhira wo e be send ehia good night.
The Accra Kumasi Expressway is the flagship of President Mahamet's Big Push infrastructure program. It is Ghana's first fully modern 6-lane bi-directional Class A expressway, a highway worthy of a nation on the rise. Stretching 198.7 kilometers, this expressway will become the central spine of Ghana's economy, linking our capital city to Kumasi, the heartbeat of the Asante region. It will cut through the Greater Accra, the eastern regions, creating a powerful southern-northern economic corridor that connects people, markets, and opportunities. To achieve this, the expressway follows a brand new alignment. This alone reduces the current travel distance by more than 50 kilometers, bringing it down from 250 kilometers to just under 199 kilometers. The impact on time and efficiency will be remarkable. Travel time between Accra and Kumasi will be cut by half. Transport costs are expected to fall by nearly 40%. And during construction, the project will create over 30,000 direct and indirect jobs for engineers, artisans, suppliers, and young people eager to work and build. But this project is